Phew, not bad. We made it just in time, not late. See? I told you there was no need to rush. There was definitely enough time. At the entrance of the banquet hall, 2 more people appeared. It was a couple. The girl had her arm linked with the boy's. It looked like they had run over, worried they would be late. The boy was Liao Haomiao, and the girl was Zhu Tao. They had also received Kong Yu's invitation and knew that Zhou Heng and the others would be there too. Standing at the entrance, they scanned the room, searching for Zhou Heng and his group. Hey, they're over there. Zhu Tao finally spotted Zhou Heng and Yi Mingran's group sitting together. She pointed, then pulled Liao Haomiao's arm and hurried over. Zhou Heng and the others were chatting. Seeing someone approach, they looked up and saw Liao Haomiao and Zhu Tao. Hey, you guys are here too. Zhou Heng waved and greeted them. The others heard and also looked over, their faces lighting up with pleasant surprise as they greeted them warmly. Long time no see. Yi Mingran waved to Zhu Tao with a smile. But before Zhu Tao could respond, she noticed Yi Mingran's belly. Zhu Tao blinked, suspecting her eyes were playing tricks on her. No way. Ran you. Zhu Tao pointed at Yi Mingran's stomach, her face a mask of astonishment. In disbelief, her mouth hung wide open as she stammered, unable to form a complete sentence. Liao Haomiao's eyes widened in shock as well. Whoa, you're pregnant? Since when? It had indeed been a long time since they had last seen each other, probably during the new year, which was a good 7 or 8 months ago. To think that after all this time, Yi Mingran was pregnant. And from the looks of that belly, she was already several months along. She'd probably be giving birth in a few more months. This was completely unexpected and a huge shock to them. Zhou Heng and Yi Mingran glanced at each other and laughed awkwardly. They hadn't publicly announced the pregnancy. Only those closest to them knew. People like Liao Haomiao and Zhu Tao, whom they didn't see often, had no idea. They felt there was no need to make a big deal out of it, so they hadn't said anything, figuring it would be fine to announce it closer to the birth. Although Liao Haomiao and Zhu Tao were shocked, it wasn't that hard to accept. After all, Zhou Heng and Yi Mingran were already married, so having a child was perfectly normal. Accepting the reality, the two of them sat down. Liao Haomiao sat next to Zhou Heng, ready for a chat. He asked, "How's it going, bro? You're interning now, right? Where at?" I'm at June Heng. Only after answering did Zhou Heng realize that Liao Haomiao and the others didn't know about his background. They didn't know he was now the presidential assistant at June Heng, nor that the chairman was his dad. Was it a bit late to tell them now? Would it make them unhappy? Would they think he didn't see them as friends, keeping everything from them? He hadn't told them Yi Mingran was pregnant, nor had he mentioned his background. It probably seemed like he didn't consider them friends. But he had genuinely forgotten. It wasn't intentional. Whoa, for real? That's amazing. I heard June Heng is incredibly hard to get into. Way to go, bro. You really have my admiration. Just lucky. After chatting for a while, the wedding finally began. The lights dimmed, and the music started. The wedding MC took the stage and began to host the ceremony, reciting many words. First, let's welcome the groom to the stage. As the main door slowly opened, Kong Yu stood there, looking straight ahead with a faint smile on his face. Seeing Kong Yu again, Zhou Heng frowned slightly and whispered in Yi Mingran's ear, "This guy's temperament and appearance have changed. Wife, have you noticed?" Yi Mingran nodded in response. I feel it too. Could it be because he's getting married today, so his aura has improved? But the kid really does look presentable now. Zhou Heng nodded and clapped along with everyone else, watching as Kong Yu slowly walked in and stepped onto the stage, standing next to the MC. Once on stage, he began to scan the audience below. Finally, he spotted Zhou Heng and their group. Upon seeing them, Kong Yu seemed to sigh in relief and broke into a smile. Then, following the MC's program, Kong Yu also gave a speech. When it was time to welcome the bride, the MC announced, "Let's give our warmest round of applause to welcome the bride." The main doors were slowly opened by people on either side, revealing Yu Jingwan standing there, looking incredibly beautiful in a pristine white wedding dress. Whoa, Yi Mingran gasped. Although she had worn a wedding dress before, seeing someone else in one still brought an envious look to her eyes. This look was also caught by Zhou Heng, who made a secret decision in his heart. After their child was born and Yi Mingran had rested and recovered, they would hold their wedding as soon as possible, so Yi Mingran could also wear a beautiful wedding dress and take the most stunning photos. Yu Jingwan slowly walked up the stage, towards Kong Yu. Both their faces were now filled with the happiest of smiles, about to welcome the most blissful moment of their lives. Zhou Heng and the others watched intently from below, witnessing them exchange rings, kiss, and say their vows. This incredibly happy and romantic scene was witnessed by everyone present. Afterward, the meal began. Zhou Heng and his group planned to eat quickly and leave. They had so many things to attend to and had to make the most of their time. Staying here for too long would also tire Min Gran out. It was time to take her home to rest. The newlyweds went from table to table for toasts. Before long, they arrived at Zhou Heng's table. Brother Zhou, Kong Yu immediately beamed with his happiest smile, raising his glass and calling out to Zhou Heng. Here, Zhou Heng smiled and nodded, standing up and picking up his glass. Only after Zhou Heng stood up did the others rise, picking up their glasses to clink them with Kong Yu and Yu Jingwan's, saying, "Congratulations on your wedding. Happy wedding." The classmates at the table also offered their blessings, raising their glasses to share a celebratory drink with the newlyweds. Min Gran couldn't drink alcohol, so she used water as a substitute. After putting down his glass, Zhou Heng reached out and patted Kong Yu's shoulder, saying, "Live a good life and treat her well." Hearing Zhou Heng's heartfelt words, Kong Yu's nose tingled for some reason, and tears instantly welled up in his eyes. "Brother Zhou, I'm so grateful to you. You've always been my role model. Without you, I wouldn't be where I am today. Although I'll definitely never be as outstanding as you, I'll certainly keep striving to be like you." Kong Yu grasped Zhou Heng's hand. Having had a few drinks, he was quite emotional, his voice tinged with a sob. The classmates present, including Liao Haomiao and Teacher Wang, all showed expressions of slight surprise. In their memory, Kong Yu wasn't like this, nor would he say such things. They never expected the current Kong Yu to have changed so drastically. His temperament, state of mind, and even his manner of speaking were all vastly different from before. Beside him, Yu Jingwan's eyes were also red. It seemed only she knew just how much Kong Yu had changed, how hard he had worked, and she knew very well that the main reason for Kong Yu's change was her. She reached out and gently wiped the tears from the corner of his eye, her gaze full of love. Zhou Heng let out a breath and nodded at Kong Yu, a gratified expression on his face. He took a step forward, gave him a hug, patted his back, and whispered in his ear, "No one can say what will happen in the future, but I know you'll definitely get better and better. You can do it." Kong Yu had heard voices of doubt far too often, but words of such certain trust. Very, very few people had ever said them to him. This was enough to give Zhou Heng an irreplaceable place in Kong Yu's heart. The wedding concluded perfectly, and the guests began to leave. Although Zhou Heng wanted to leave early to take Min Gran home to rest, Min Gran felt it was a great opportunity for a gathering. With so many friends around, she was a bit reluctant to leave. Having been pregnant for so long, she had had very little contact with people, and even fewer with friends. During her pregnancy, she could clearly feel her mood change. Sometimes feelings of anxiety and frustration would suddenly surface, but she managed to suppress them every time. She felt that such a rare opportunity could make her quite happy. Hearing this, Zhou Heng realized it was true. He had been focusing more on Min Gran's physical health lately, and had almost forgotten to take care of her emotional well-being too. So, Zhou Heng, Min Gran, Liao Haomiao, and their group of friends attended the evening banquet. Everyone had a great time, enjoying a long-overdue reunion. Later that night, after the banquet ended, Kong Yu and Yu Jingwan returned to their bridal suite. Kong Yu collapsed directly onto the bed, too tired to even speak. He felt that getting married was truly exhausting. Not only had he drunk a lot, but he also had to be busy with this and that. But getting married wasn't just his affair. Besides himself, Yu Jingwan was also very tired. However, she didn't seem to show how tired she was, maintaining a happy state and doing everything with high spirits. She had chatted happily with everyone at the banquet and had even added Min Gran, Tang Ji, Yu Lingxue, and Zhu Tao as friends. From Zhou Heng and the others' perspective, Kong Yu and Yu Jingwan had really changed a lot. Kong Yu had become very mature, with a significant change in his words and actions, while Yu Jingwan was no longer so self-conscious, having forgotten the lowliness her background had brought her. At this moment, she was just an ordinary, happy girl, very cheerful and able to laugh and chat with everyone. Right now, Yu Jingwan hadn't entered the bedroom yet. As soon as they got home, she was busy with something in the living room. Soon, her voice came from the living room. "Honey, let me wash your clothes. Are you still hungry? You didn't seem to eat much tonight. Do you want me to make you something to eat?" "Aya." Kong Yu sat up on the edge of the bed with a faint, bitter smile. Then he stood up, walked out of the bedroom, and into the living room. He saw Yu Jingwan, still in her bridal pajamas, already in housewife mode, tidying up and folding clothes. "Wife, what are you doing? It's our wedding day. You're very tired too. Don't be in such a rush to tidy up." Kong Yu walked over, took Yu Jingwan's hand, and sat her down on the sofa. He then pulled her onto his lap and held her. Yu Jingwan settled into his embrace, leaning against his cheek and whispering, "I'm worried about you. You're the one who's worked the hardest, getting so tired for my sake. I know everything. I want to take care of you as much as possible so we can support this family together. For my beloved wife, no amount of exhaustion is too much. Meeting you is the happiest thing that's ever happened to me in this life." Kong Yu was also slightly tipsy, his face flushed. He held Yu Jingwan and gave her a big, hard kiss, making her blush crimson. "Look at you, always saying things like that. It's too exaggerated. It's clear that meeting you is the happiest thing for me." Yu Jingwan wrapped her arms around Kong Yu's neck, brought her mouth close to his ear, and breathed warmly against it, sending a shiver through him. "Ahem, wife, you saw today, the class president is pregnant, and my brother Zhou is so happy. To be honest, I'm quite envious." So what you mean is?" Yu Jingwan immediately understood what Kong Yu meant. He wanted a child too. He wanted a baby of their own. Kong Yu nodded, admitting, That's right. Let's have one too. Can we? We're married now, so we can have children, right?" Oh, okay, I also want to have your baby." Yu Jingwan bit her lip, her face flushed, her voice tiny. "All right." Kong Yu grinned, nodded, and scooped Yu Jingwan up into his arms. He stood up and was about to carry her to the bedroom. Yu Jingwan shyly covered her face and whispered, "Honey, I'm not ovulating yet." Kong Yu didn't care about that at all. He pushed open the door and placed Yu Jingwan on the bed. "Then we'll just have to work hard every day." One morning, during a normal workday at Junheng, a senior executive came to the top floor, knocked on the office door, and walked in. But the seat that was usually occupied by Zhou Heng was now taken by Tang Ji. Tang Ji sat there, working diligently, her head down, her eyes fixed on her work, seemingly very busy. The executive looked around and asked, "Is Assistant Zhou not in?" "He's not, and he won't be for a while. He won't be back." Tang Ji still didn't look up. The person in front of her was quite familiar, and he would understand if she was busy. "What's wrong? Did something happen? Did he go to Tianheng?" "He's at the hospital. His wife's due date has arrived, so he has to be there to take care of her. During this time, I'll be handling all his work." Tang Ji finally looked up and sighed. Although helping Zhou Heng with these matters was part of her job, the sheer volume of work piling up was making her a bit overwhelmed. She was already considering temporarily transferring Yu Lingxue over to help her, but then she remembered that Yu Lingxue would surely have to handle Yin Mingran's affairs, so she decided against it. "I see. So Assistant Zhou is about to become a father. We must congratulate him. Well then, I won't trouble you. I'll go find Secretary Liang for help. You stay busy." After speaking, he backed out of the office and gently closed the door. Tang Ji took this opportunity to rest for a moment. She leaned back in her chair, stretched, and looked at the desk. There was a photograph there, a picture of Yin Mingran. It was clear how much Zhou Heng missed Yin Mingran, keeping her photo on his desk where he could see her just by looking up. Tang Ji picked up the photo, looked at it with a slight smile, and put it back down, saying, "This is about to become a family portrait of 3. She could almost see it already. A picture of a very happy family of 3, smiling radiantly, their little child holding her hand and calling her auntie in a sweet, childish voice. At this thought, she no longer felt any fatigue, but was filled with motivation and resumed her work. At this moment, in a VIP room at Dongzhou First Central Hospital, the air was filled with laughter. Honey, come here. This one too." Yin Mingran sat on the hospital bed, her belly now very large, wearing maternity clothes. She was happily calling Zhou Heng over, holding a cute little hair clip in her hand. "Coming, wife." Zhou Heng came to Yin Mingran's side, his tone a little helpless. Then, Yin Mingran clipped the small barrette on his Zhou Heng's head. "Ha, so cute." Yin Mingran couldn't help but burst out laughing, so hard that tears came to her eyes. Zhou Heng sighed. At this moment, his hair was adorned with 3 or 4 cute cartoon hair clips. A faint blush was smeared on both cheeks, and even his lips were coated with a light shade of lipstick. He had never been subjected to this before, but as long as Yin Mingran was happy, he was willing to do anything. Come on. Honey, let's take a picture to commemorate this." Yin Mingran pulled Zhou Heng over to her side, then raised her phone, opened the camera, and Zhou Heng saw his reflection. It was truly a sight he couldn't bear to look at. If this photo got out, he would die of embarrassment. Yin Mingran pouted, squeezed her eyes shut, made a peace sign, and snapped the amusing photo. "All right, another one." Yin Mingran saved the photo and checked her album, finding dozens more like it. In each one, Zhou Heng had a different look, like a 100-faced Zhou Heng, particularly goofy, which explained his slight helplessness. Honey, go wash your face quickly. This time I'll give you some beautiful makeup. I want to see how good it looks. Min Gran excitedly patted Zhou Heng's arm, her eyes full of anticipation, the kind that seemed to want to put him in a dress. Wi-Fi. I know, okay, I'll go wash my face now. Zhou Heng hesitated for a moment, but still didn't refuse Min Gran's request. He went to the bathroom, ready to wash his face and let Min Gran have her way. After getting pregnant, Min Gran had mostly stopped dressing up. Loving beauty and dressing up is a woman's nature. So Zhou Heng thought she must have been feeling cooped up and was now just playing around on his face. Zhou Heng was quite willing, as long as Min Gran was happy. The doctor had said the due date was in 5 to 7 days. During this time, Zhou Heng had to take good care of Min Gran to ensure a smooth delivery. After Zhou Heng went to the bathroom, Min Gran received a phone call. Min Gran glanced at the number, a little surprised. This contact hadn't called her in a long time. Hello, Tong Tong. Hello, Ran, it's been a long time. How have you been lately? The caller was Tong Yining. Tong Yining had made up with them before, and they had hung out a few times afterward, but they hadn't talked much this past year, and their chats were only simple exchanges. Everyone was busy, so they hadn't seen each other in a long time. I've been great. How about you? I'm good too. I miss you a little, haha, so I called to see what you're up to. Are you free? I wanted to hang out. I'm at the hospital. Min Gran remembered that Tong Yining probably didn't know she was pregnant. Telling her would surely shock her, especially since she was about to give birth. The hospital? What happened to you? Tong, don't blame me. I didn't tell you. Actually, I've been pregnant for a while. I'm about to give birth now, waiting at the hospital. After Min Gran finished speaking, the other end of the line fell into a dead silence, as if no one was there. Tong. The phone was silent for several dozen seconds, making Min Gran a bit worried. She wondered if the news was too hard for Tong Yining to accept. You. Are you serious? Yes, it's true. Sorry, I didn't mean to hide it from you. We were just being a bit low-key. Not many people actually know, Min Gran explained. When she first found out she was pregnant, she had considered whether to tell others, but after discussing it with Zhou Heng, they decided against it, thinking the fewer people who knew, the better. They were worried that if someone with ill intentions, like Yuing Hai, found out, it could be dangerous. But now that she was about to give birth, it was probably time to tell others. Which hospital? I'm coming over right now. Oh, okay. Min Gran told Tong Yining the address of her hospital. She had already failed to tell her friend such a big piece of news about her pregnancy. Now that her friend wanted to come see her, there was certainly no problem with that. Okay, I'll be there soon. Tong Yining sounded very anxious. After getting the answer, she hurriedly hung up the phone. Min Gran looked at the disconnected call and smiled awkwardly. She started to wonder if she should tell everyone else about her pregnancy and impending birth. Otherwise, when they contacted her and suddenly discovered she had a child, they would probably be shocked. And they might also think she didn't consider them friends for not telling them something so important, which would surely cause dissatisfaction. Maybe she should post something on her Moments feed later? That way, everyone would see it. I'm back. Wife, I'm back. Just then, Zhou Heng came out of the bathroom, wiping his wet face with a towel. You're back. Honey, quick, come here. The moment Min Gran saw Zhou Heng run out, she immediately cast that thought aside, forgetting it in an instant. All she could think about now was putting makeup on Zhou Heng to see how he would look. It would surely be hilarious. Zhou Heng sat down on the edge of the bed, his posture well-behaved and honest. He closed his eyes, as if he had become a doll, letting Min Gran do as she pleased. Wife, it's a little itchy. Ahem. Hang in there, honey. Don't move, okay? The eyeliner is almost done. The room was quiet. Min Gran focused on applying Zhou Heng's makeup, while Zhou Heng sat there without daring to move, being treated like a toy. After about 20 minutes, Min Gran looked at her masterpiece before her, nodded in satisfaction, and said with a laugh, Done. Perfect. Ha ha ha. Zhou Heng had almost fallen asleep. Hearing Min Gran's voice, he opened his eyes, feeling a bit more awake. Is it over? Zhou Heng blinked, then turned his head to look at the mirror beside him. Seeing his reflection, he couldn't help but freeze for a moment. His reflection in the mirror was incredibly enchanting and glamorous. The makeup on his face didn't look too out of place. In fact, it was exceptionally fitting. At this moment, he began to wonder if this was some kind of dark art. This was practically a disguise, right? It had completely changed him into another person, making his original appearance unrecognizable. Whoa! Zhou Heng touched his face, feeling the thick layer of foundation that made his skin fair and smooth. The eyeliner, eyeshadow, lipstick, and everything else had made him look so beautiful. But the main point was, he was a man. Being made up like this while looking good just felt strange, especially with his muscular build. With his face, he looked like a King Kong Barbie, a sight that was hard to look at. Honey, you're so beautiful. Ha ha. Why don't we become sisters? I feel like you're even prettier than me now. In-min Gran roared with laughter on the bed, overjoyed. Just looking at Zhou Heng's current appearance made her unable to stop laughing. Zhou Heng stood there, feeling as if he were standing naked in public, extremely embarrassed. However, seeing In-min Gran so happy, he felt his sacrifice was worth it. Hey, honey, can we go for a walk? I want to buy you some plus-size women's clothes. You can't fit into my clothes, and I want to see what you look like in a dress. What? No. Wife, stop joking. We can't go out. You have to rest here properly. Besides, making me wear women's clothes is too. Zhou Heng quickly waved his hands in refusal, his face full of resistance. He felt that wearing makeup was already his limit. He couldn't do anything more outrageous. Making him wear a dress was just a bit unrealistic. Why are you like this? Then can we have someone else go out and buy them for us? You could just wear them here for me to see. Only the two of us will know. Okay. In-min Gran still hadn't given up, her eyes twinkling as she looked at Zhou Heng with great anticipation. No, I don't want to. In-min Gran immediately hugged Zhou Heng's arm and began to shake it, pleading, good husband, you're the best. Please, I want to see just this once. Okay, honey, please. In-min Gran pressed against Zhou Heng's arm, looking up at his face. Zhou Heng looked down and saw In-min Gran's pitiful eyes, her lips lightly pursed. This expression, presented before him, left him with no resistance. Sigh. Zhou Heng sighed, nodded lightly, and asked, don't you still have your maternity clothes? I can fit into those, right? That counts as women's clothing, doesn't it? Is that okay? That works too. Just this once, okay? Just this once in my entire life. Got it. You're the best, honey. Come on. Meanwhile, at the hospital entrance, a taxi pulled up. The person who got out was Tong Yining. It had been a long time since she had seen In-min Gran, and she had changed quite a bit. Her aura was different. Before, she was more cute, like a pure schoolgirl, but now, dressed in mature clothes and carrying a handbag, she looked more like a sexy older sister. She happened to be in Dongzhou, so she arrived quickly. When she heard the news of In-min Gran's pregnancy, she was utterly astonished, especially when she learned she was about to give birth. She felt as if she hadn't seen In-min Gran in years. In the blink of an eye, she was about to become a mother. Honestly, I don't even have a boyfriend yet, and you two are so fast. Getting your marriage certificate last year, and becoming parents this year. Tong Yining flicked her hair and muttered helplessly. Then, she hurried into the hospital. In-min Gran had sent her the ward number, so she just had to find it. The hospital was quite large, and it took Tong Yining a long time to finally find the location. The quietest, most private ward. She stood at the door, and before she could knock, she heard strange sounds coming from inside. Wife, are you done yet? This pose is so tiring. I can't hold it for much longer. Hold on. Husband, just 2 more shots. Wow, so cute. You're the best. Go, husband, go. Tong Yining stood at the door, stunned. Hearing those strange words from inside, she wondered what on earth was happening. What were those two doing? Would it be a bad time to go in now? Tong Yining's hand paused for a few seconds. Hearing no more noise from inside, she finally knocked. Knock, knock. After a few knocks, the room suddenly fell silent. Then came Zhou Heng's faint voice. Who is it? Who's here? Honey, I forgot. Tong Yining called me just now. She wanted to come see me. I forgot to tell you. In-min Gran's words of sudden realization made Zhou Heng's heart stop for a second. What? She. She's at the door. Zhou Heng's voice was filled with panic. Then, he was heard running somewhere and a door closing. After that, In-min Gran called out to the door, please come in. Hearing In-min Gran's voice, Tong Yining slowly pushed the door open. She saw In-min Gran sitting on a hospital bed with a large belly, waving and greeting her. Tong Yining stood where she was, looked around, but didn't see Zhou Heng's figure. However, she did see the closed door of the bathroom. From inside the bathroom came the sound of running water, as if someone was washing their face. Tong Yining didn't know what was going on, and she didn't ask. She walked forward, looked at In-min Gran with astonishment, and said, Ran, do you know how shocked I am? Such a big thing as being pregnant, and I didn't even know. Why didn't you tell me? We were in touch during that time, weren't we? Tong Yining sat down on the chair by the bed and said to In-min Gran, Min Gran gave an awkward smile, gently scratching her head, and said apologetically, well, I didn't do it on purpose. There were various reasons. I didn't tell many people. Only a few people close to me knew. Everyone else had no idea. Hearing Min Gran say this, Tong Yining didn't press the matter further. After all, while she was in contact with Min Gran, it wasn't frequent. It was understandable that she wasn't told about something like pregnancy. Tong Yining took Min Gran's hand and asked softly, "How are you feeling? Have they said if it's a boy or a girl?" Min Gran smiled slightly and replied, It should be a boy. They had found out the gender as soon as it was possible to check, and it was confirmed to be a boy. Although Zhou Hong didn't care about gender, boy or girl was fine, as long as Min Gran was safe and healthy. A boy who looks like his mom. The little one will definitely look a lot like you. He'll be so handsome. Oh, is that so? I was hoping the baby would look more like Zhou Hong. Min Gran looked a little disappointed. She had been imagining giving birth to a baby who looked exactly like Zhou Hong. Holding a little Zhou Heng in her arms, wow. Just thinking about it was adorable. You never know. Maybe he'll take the best features from both of you. That little one will surely be gorgeous. Oh, that's so wonderful. I love children so much. Tong Yining's eyes were full of envy. The thought of the two of them having such a beautiful child seemed so wonderful. Their life must be so happy. Min Gran smiled, nudged Tong Yining with her arm, and asked, "What about you? Do you have a boyfriend now?" "Not at all. Sigh. I can't seem to meet anyone good. It feels like everyone is a bit strange. I'm about to give up on dating." Tong Yining sighed. The thought of the people she had met left her speechless. Her first boyfriend in college turned out to be that kind of person, hardly a man. When she went back to school, she completely ignored him. Then she met Bai Tsong, who gave her quite a shock, once making her wonder if she was incapable of meeting a normal person. Don't rush. Take your time. The world is so big. You'll eventually meet the person who is most suitable for you. Maybe when you're not even thinking about dating, you'll meet your true love, Min Gran said, gently patting Tong Yining's hand to comfort her. I hope so. But even if I find someone, there are so many steps. By the time I have a child, your child will probably be in school. Then you can treat my child as your own. You like children, don't you? Really? Is that really okay? Can I hold him then? Of course, huh? The two chatted happily. Soon, there was a sound from the bathroom, and the door opened. Zhou Heng walked out, wearing his own clothes. His face and hair were wet, as if he had just taken a shower. Zhou Heng looked at Tong Yining, nodded lightly, and said, "You're here." Tong Yining looked at Zhou Heng's face, stunned for a moment. She blinked, then pointed at him and said, You still have makeup on your face. It's not completely washed off." Min Gran couldn't hold back her laughter from the side. Zhou Heng was shocked, his eyes wide as he looked at the mirror next to him. He found that most of it was gone, but around his eyes there was still some eyeshadow that hadn't been removed. When he had full makeup on, he looked quite good. Now, with only the remnants of eyeshadow, he looked like a pervert. Damn it! Zhou Heng cursed and rushed back into the bathroom, closing the door. Soon, the sound of water was heard again. Tong Yining turned to look at Min Gran, who was still laughing hard, and asked dazedly, What were you two doing just now? Why does he have makeup on his face?" Just then, a loud shout came from the bathroom. "Wife, your phone must not be seen by anyone else. Do you hear me?" The thought of all his special photos on that phone, if they were to leak and be seen by others, especially acquaintances, he would want to die. Okay, I know. Don't worry, honey." This led Tong Yining to guess that the two of them were probably playing some very fancy games in here. In any case, it was something she wouldn't understand. But this was a little fun thing for the couple, and as long as they were happy, that's all that mattered. By the way, have you picked a name for the baby? We've picked one. What is it? Tong Yining looked at Min Gran with anticipation, curious about the name they had chosen for their child. Min Gran caressed her belly and said softly, "Zhou Weiyan." "Oh, that's a nice name. Who picked it?" "Zhou Heng's father." Min Gran recalled how she and Zhou Heng had spent days thinking of thousands of names. Each one was nice and usable, but that was the problem. They didn't know how to choose. Since any of them would work, it was hard to pick just one. At that point, they sought help from Lu Wei and Zhou Junyao. After all, this was their grandson, so they should listen to their opinion. In the end, Zhou Junyao made the decision on the spot, choosing the name Zhou Weiyan. It didn't have any special hidden meaning. If one were to ask why he chose this name, it would relate to Jun Heng's plan for the next 3 years, to build a subsidiary in Huzhou in cooperation with Huzhou's Tianheng. It was a huge project, which Jun Heng considered its most important current undertaking. Once completed, The company would be like a hub for the cooperation between Junhung and Tianhung, initially predicted to be a massive reform that would affect both cities. The mayor and other leaders were all paying close attention to this project, and the name of that company was Huzhou Wan. So the name was quite meaningful, like a future gift for him. Just then, Zhou Hung finally came out of the bathroom, his face washed completely clean. Seeing Tong Yining, he looked embarrassed. Ahem, an accident, purely an accident. Zhou Hung shook his head, muttered a sentence, and then turned to sit on the sofa. With Tong Yining here to chat with Yin Mingran, he could finally get some rest. The two of them chatted on, their conversation moving from the baby to Tong Yining's recent situation. Yin Mingran asked, "Where are you working now? You've already started working, right?" At the mention of this, Tong Yining sighed helplessly and said, "Don't even mention it. It's really hard for college students to find a job now. I can't find anything good." She had already lowered her standards significantly and no longer hoped for a decent, respectable job. However, she wasn't someone who could do just any job. She had to be interested in it. If she really wasn't interested in a job, she wouldn't be able to stick with it. That's true. Yin Mingran almost blurted out that she could come work at Tianhung. She had the authority to bring Tong Yining in and arrange a job for her, one that was at least respectable. But after thinking about it, she decided not to say anything for now. If Tong Yining had this need, it was better to wait for her to bring it up herself. If she offered it proactively, it would seem like the job was just a handout, and she would probably regret it later, thinking it could lead to a big mistake. "Oh, right. Can you give me a job?" Tong Yining suddenly seemed to have an idea. She blinked and looked at Yin Mingran expectantly, asking, this? Yin Mingran didn't expect Tong Yining to actually ask, and so directly. Could she possibly say no? After all, getting Tong Yining into Tianhung was really just a matter of a single word from her. It wasn't difficult at all. But Tianhung had so many positions. What did Tong Yining want to do? Yin Mingran asked, "What do you want to do?" As long as it wasn't a management or technical position, it would be very simple for her to help. Tong Yining nodded and said excitedly, "I want to be the baby's nanny." Upon hearing this, Yin Mingran froze for a moment, blinked, and looked at Tong Yining with a bewildered expression. She had thought Tong Yining wanted a job at Tianhung, but it turned out she wanted a job by her side. "You two are very busy, so you probably won't have much time to take care of the baby, right? You'll definitely have to hire a nanny then, won't you? I want to apply for this position. I happen to love children, especially your child. I'll definitely treat him as my own." Tong Yining patted her chest and said with certainty. This idea had just come to her. She was looking for a job she was interested in, and she felt this one would be perfect. She could look after her favorite little one, who was also her best friend Yin Mingran's child, so it would be like her own. But she was afraid Yin Mingran and Zhou Hung wouldn't agree. After all, this child would need a very reliable person to take care of him. Even if they hired a nanny, they would surely hire the best, most expensive one. Compared to someone like that, she had no competitive edge at all. She just purely liked children and knew very little about childcare. Even if she was their friend, they probably wouldn't easily let her do this job. The child was definitely more important. If she didn't take good care of the child, she would be a sinner for all eternity and would never be able to face Yin Mingran again. Yin Mingran couldn't make a decision either. She had indeed thought about this problem. After giving birth, finishing her postpartum confinement, and recovering, she would have to go back to work as usual, and she really wouldn't have much time to take care of the baby. It was the same for Zhou Hung. He was already squeezing out time to see her, and there was no way he could squeeze out any more time to care for a child. The two of them couldn't just bring the baby with them every day. So hiring a nanny was a certainty. She would discuss it with Zhou Hung later. But now that Tong Yining had brought it up directly, it put her in a difficult position. So she looked at Zhou Hung, hoping he could help her come up with an idea and make the decision. Zhou Hung had also heard their conversation. He looked up, a thoughtful expression on his face. Seeing Yin Mingran's gaze, he understood what she meant. First of all, it was absolutely not okay to let Tong Yining take care of the child alone. She had no experience in this area and wouldn't be able to do a good job. So if they were to let her do it, they couldn't hire her alone. They would need a professional nanny to accompany her. Additionally, Tong Yining would have to learn some basic knowledge. Otherwise, just liking children wasn't enough to be a nanny. After thinking it over, Zhou Heng looked up at Tong Yining and asked, "Well, are you willing to study childcare? How to take care of a baby? You need to have at least some basic knowledge before we can let you do it." Of course I'm willing. I'll definitely learn." "Oh," Zhou Heng nodded. Seeing that Tong Yining wasn't joking and seemed very serious, he decided not to refuse. "Let's do this then. For the next few months, you study this area of knowledge thoroughly. Then I'll hire a professional nanny to test you. As long as you can pass, you can have the job. How does that sound? Jo-hung wasn't too concerned about feelings between friends at this moment. This was a discussion about a very important matter, so he was being more serious. Really? Okay, I'll definitely study hard. You can rest assured. Hearing there was hope, Tong Yining was very happy and seemed full of confidence. In Mingran was also happy for her. She patted her shoulder and said softly, "You have to work hard." She was quite relieved at the thought of her child being cared for by a good friend. At least she trusted Tong Yining not to treat her child badly. Tong Yining chatted for a while longer before planning to leave. She also said that on the day of Mingran's delivery, she would definitely rush over at the first moment. After Tong Yining left, Jo-hung came to Mingran's side. Only then did Mingran remember what she was going to do earlier. "All right, honey, should we tell everyone about this? A lot of people don't know, and they'll blame us later." You're right. The baby's almost here, and some people don't even know you're pregnant. We should probably let them know. Mingran took out her phone and said enthusiastically, "Then I'll pick a photo and post it on my moments." Hey, wife." Hearing this, Jo-heng's eyes shot open. He sat down next to Mingran and looked at her phone, stopping her. He thought to himself that Mingran's phone was full of his goofy photos. If she used one of those to post, he would be socially dead. Mingran chuckled and patted Jo-heng's head. "Aya, don't worry, I won't post those photos. Those are for my eyes only. They belong only to me. I won't show them to others." "Ah, is that so? That's good." Jo-hung breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily, it wouldn't be one of his photos. Mingran selected a more normal photo of the two of them. In it, she had a big belly and was making a peace sign at the camera, smiling sweetly. "Baby, you're going to meet Mommy and Daddy very soon." As soon as the post was published, just a few minutes later, Mingran's phone started ringing nonstop. Her phone was being bombarded, with new messages constantly popping up. The comment section under the post grew long, stretching out of sight. Mingran and Jo-hung smiled helplessly. They should have announced it earlier. This was truly a case of having a baby in secret and stunning everyone. In an instant, several people had arranged to visit Mingran the next day, including Yu Lingxue and Bai Tsong, Kong Yu and Yu Jingwan, and Liao Haomiao and Zhu Tao. There were also Shen Lini and Jing Yu. Others also wanted to visit, but Jo-hung and Mingran decided for now to let these closer friends come first tomorrow. Too many people at once would affect Mingran's rest. The next day, Jo-hung and Mingran woke up early. Jo-hung helped Mingran wash up and tidy herself up a bit, combing her hair and so on. After all, so many friends were coming to see her. She couldn't meet them looking disheveled. After they were ready, the first to arrive was Shen Lini. Shen Lini opened the door and walked in, carrying a lot of things. She hadn't changed much. She was still the same as before, looking very introverted. You could tell from her style of dress that she wasn't a talkative person. She had changed her glasses, though, to a darker color, which further accentuated her cool, aloof temperament. It had also been a long time since she had seen Jo-hung and Mingran. She had started her internship a year before them, then graduated and found a stable job. With her major and connections, she could have easily worked at Tianheng with just a word. But Shen Lini had refused. After all, her personality was not suited for working in a place with many people. Going to such a large company, interacting with so many people, and having to learn social etiquette, constantly dealing with office politics. The thought of it was terrifying to her, the kind that would make her tremble all over. So she resolutely refused. In the end, she found an online job. Yes, she worked from home, with no need to interact with anyone. All her work could be done online, without even leaving the house. Today, she had come out to visit Mingran. In fact, she calculated that this was probably her first time leaving the house in 2 months. After so many years of contact with Mingran and the others, she had become much more cheerful. But as they all got busy with their own lives and had less time to meet, her personality had regressed a bit. Today, after going out, she still found herself avoiding eye contact with passersby. Jo-hung opened the door for Shen Lini. Seeing her carrying so many things, he said, "You're here. Just coming is enough. Why bring all this stuff?" "She's already very happy just to see you." Shen Lini looked at Jo-hung, her lips pursed in what looked like a smile. She said, "It's fine. I carefully selected all of these for Ran, including supplements for her postpartum confinement. I've done my research. They're all very suitable for her and will definitely be useful." Jo-hung was taken aback for a moment. He thought to himself that Shen Lini was still the same as before, exceptionally meticulous, incredibly sincere, and her gestures were always very meaningful. Every year for Yin Mingran's or Zhou Heng's birthday, Shunlini's gift was always the most thoughtful, very meaningful and valuable. Such a good person, yet to have been left with a psychological scar from being bullied as a child, resulting in extreme social anxiety. It seemed heaven truly closes a window when it opens a door. Otherwise, you really couldn't find any flaws in Shunlini. She was practically a perfect person. Jiejia, you're here. Yin Mingran heard Shunlini's voice and called out from inside. Hearing this, Shunlini instantly broke into a smile and replied, Hey, Ranran, Jiejia is here to see you. Here, give me the things. You go chat with Ranran. Zhou Heng took the items from Shunlini's hands and let her go in to accompany Yin Mingran. Just as Zhou Heng put the things down, he heard another knock at the door. He went to the door, opened it, and looked outside. He saw a very beautiful woman standing there. So beautiful, she looked like a celebrity. After a closer look, Zhou Heng realized this person didn't just look like a celebrity. She was a celebrity. Wasn't this Jingyu? Seeing Zhou Heng, Jingyu immediately smiled, reached up to take off the beret she was wearing, and curtsied slightly, greeting him, Hello, President Zhou. Ah, Jingyu, I didn't expect you to have time to come. I remember you've been preparing for a concert recently, haven't you? Seeing Jingyu, Zhou Heng recalled the news he had seen some time ago. Most models chose to cross over into other fields, and Jingyu was no exception. She had a talent for singing and, after participating in a few shows, gained public recognition. Now she was preparing for a concert. Logically, she should be extremely busy right now, so it was unexpected that she had time to come here. No matter how busy, I still have to come and see, right? Otherwise, it would be so thoughtless. How is President Yin doing? Jingyu chuckled and peeked into the hospital room. Zhou Heng stepped aside, gestured towards the inside, and said, Go on in. All right. Jingyu walked into the room and greeted Yin Mingran and Shunlini inside. The three of them hadn't seen each other in a long time, so they started chatting happily as soon as they met. Zhou Heng didn't want to disturb their chat, so he prepared to go out and buy some things. With so many people coming to see Yin Mingran, he had forgotten to prepare something to serve them. Just as Zhou Heng left the room and reached the hospital lobby, he ran into several people. It was the rest of the visitors. Zhou Heng hadn't expected the three couples to arrive together. Yu Lingxue and Bai Song, Liao Haomiao and Zhu Tao, and Kong Yu and Yu Jingwan were chatting as they walked into the hospital. A few steps in, they saw Zhou Heng walking towards them. Hey, Brother Zhou, why did you come down? Kong Yu saw Zhou Heng and waved in pleasant surprise, while also being a bit confused, thinking that Zhou Heng should be taking care of Yin Mingran right now. The others also greeted Zhou Heng. Then Zhou Heng said, Oh, I'm going to buy some things. Shunlini and Jingyu are already here, upstairs. You guys can go up first. What do you need to buy? I'll go with you. Liao Haomiao was the first to step forward and say to Zhou Heng. He also quickly told Zhu Tao to go up and keep Yin Mingran company, while he went with Zhou Heng to buy things. The other two men saw this and wanted to go along as well. After all, the room would be full of women, and the two of them weren't very familiar with each other. They wouldn't know what to talk about, and it would be awkward to stay together. So, the three women went upstairs first, while the four men, led by Zhou Heng, walked out of the hospital. Before entering the hospital, the three couples had been a scene of the three women chatting, while the three men just followed behind, carrying bags and things without saying a word. Now, the three men, separated from their girlfriends, came to Zhou Heng's side, as if they had suddenly released their pent-up emotions. Brother Zhou, congratulations. You're about to be a dad. How do you feel right now? Kong Yu was quite concerned about this question. After all, he and Yu Jingwan were also trying to conceive. He had seen in TV shows that men who found out they were going to be fathers had very strong reactions, looking as if they had won the lottery, incredibly excited. He had also imagined that when his day came, the day he would become a father, he would have a similar reaction. How do I feel? Zhou Heng paused for a moment, looked up, and thought. He recalled his thoughts when he first learned Yin Mingran was pregnant. It seemed to be a mix of shock and pleasant surprise. And now that Yin Mingran was about to give birth, his feelings were different. My feeling right now. Maybe I'm not that focused on the child itself. After all, Ranran is the one who has been pregnant for 10 months, so her feelings for the child are definitely deeper. The child is a complete stranger to me. My main hope is that she can be safe and sound, that she can give birth to the child safely. Nothing else is as important as that. Such a good man. I've learned something again. Brother Zhou, every time I'm around you, I can learn something. Kong Yu nodded, giving Zhou Heng a small round of applause, his face full of admiration. He was now a complete and utter fan of Zhou Heng. If Zhou Heng told him to go east, he would absolutely not go west. Zhou looked at Liao Haomiao beside him and asked, "Do you guys have any plans for when you'll get married?" Zhou thought that the time Liao Haomiao and Zhu Tao had been together was not much different from his and Yimingran's. They had been together for many years, and their relationship had been stable during this time, without any major fights or breakups. Both sets of parents had met, so it was about time to consider marriage. Liao Haomiao thought for a moment and said, About that, we think about it often. But there are just too many factors to consider, so every time we think about it, we give up." "Oh, right." Liao Haomiao paused, having thought of something, and continued, "We've discussed it, and we don't plan to have children in the future." "Oh." At these words, Zhou Heng's interest was piqued. He looked at Liao Haomiao with some surprise. He thought that Liao Haomiao's family conditions were good, and raising a few children wouldn't be a problem. Perhaps it was just that the two of them simply didn't like children. "What? You don't like children? That's not it. Think about it. Once you have a child, you become a family of 3, right? It becomes difficult to have a world of just the two of you. We just feel that. Living life as a couple is easier, more intimate. We don't want that much pressure." Liao Haomiao's reasoning was actually something the other 3 could understand very well. Many people nowadays don't want children because of this mentality. It's not that they dislike children, but raising them is indeed very tiring, and the world of 2 is almost gone. If you want to be intimate, you have to do it sneakily. On the other hand, if you don't have children, it's just the 2 of you in one home, 3 meals a day, going to work together, coming home together, cooking together, eating together, taking a walk together. It does seem very relaxed, a simple kind of happiness. Zhou looked at Baitsong, tilted his chin, and asked, "What about you? What are your and Yulingshua's plans?" Us." Baitsong thought for a moment. It seemed that in his mind, there were only 2 words, either way. They had discussed this topic before. Yulingshua's meaning was simple. She would listen to Baitsong, and Baitsong also wanted to respect Yulingshua's thoughts. So they both ended up with either way is fine, both are okay. Baitsong nodded and replied, "I think we probably will, because my father seems to really want us to have children, especially a boy. I guess he wants someone to inherit the family business." The 4 of them went to buy some things together and were preparing to head back to the hospital. Liao Haomiao moved closer to Zhou and asked, "When we get back, will there be a place for us to stay?" The hospital room is big enough, but what can we do there?" He could already imagine the scene, 6 girls in that room, chatting together. It would surely be very lively. Probably one sentence here, another there, impossible to even get a word in. The 4 of them, men, could only sit on the side and watch the fun or play on their phones. There would be nothing else to do. They couldn't start a game of poker in a maternity patient's room, could they? And Zhou couldn't just take the other 3 guys out to have fun. Even if Yimingran agreed, Zhou wouldn't feel at ease leaving. He had to stay in the hospital to feel secure, so he could be there at the first sign of any situation. But what was there to do in the hospital? "Brother Zhou, when the class president is in labor, will you be worried that it'll be very painful for her?" At this moment, Kong Yu asked curiously from the side. "Of course I'll be worried, but I don't know how painful it will actually be. I've just heard people say it's very, very painful, but I've also heard it varies from person to person. Some people apparently don't feel much pain, so I really don't know what to expect." Zhou had already looked up a lot of information and studied a lot of knowledge beforehand, so he wouldn't be flustered and clueless when the time came. But regarding the pain of childbirth, he really didn't know how to handle it. He could only give the mother-to-be some psychological and emotional comfort, which might make her feel a bit better. He really couldn't share the physical pain. Liao Haomiao suddenly had a flash of inspiration and said, "Hey, doesn't the hospital have one of those childbirth experience programs? If you're not sure, you could go try it." At these words, the other 3 men's eyes widened, and they all looked at Liao Haomiao. A single thought appeared in all their minds, which was, it seemed like they could actually go try it. One of them was about to be a father, one was preparing to be a father, and another wanted to be a father in the future. Going to experience it now, to understand a bit more, didn't seem to have any drawbacks. And most importantly, hadn't this just found them a good activity? Wasn't this much more fun than the 4 of them going back to the room to listen to 6 women chat? "What do you say?" Zhou Heng's gaze flicked towards the others. His meaning was already clear. He obviously wanted to give it a try and was asking if the others were willing to go. "Let's go. Sure, let's try it. I'm fine with it. I can't be the only one going back." The other 3 all agreed in unison, all quite interested in the idea, so the 4 of them quickened their pace. First, they took the things they had bought back to the hospital room. As they had expected, the room was extremely lively, filled with the bell-like laughter of the girls. Perhaps it was a psychological effect, but it felt like the room's temperature had risen because of it. Wife, you guys chat first. I'm going to take the three of them for a stroll. Jo-hung cautiously approached Min-gran to ask for her permission. For a moment, the chatter died down, and everyone looked at Jo-hung. Min-gran also looked up, paused for a moment, then nodded and smiled. Okay, you guys go ahead. Then if anything happens, you must call me right away. Okay, don't worry. There's so many people here. No need to worry. Min-gran looked around. Most of her best friends were here, except for Tang Ji and the others, so there was really no need to worry about anything. Let's go. Jo-hung beckoned to the other three, and they followed him out of the room. The women in the room were all a bit curious about where the four men were going, but they didn't think much of it and continued their happy chatter, as if they had endless topics to talk about. They walked down the hospital corridor, searching for where the childbirth experience program was located. Are you nervous? Liao Haomiao's gaze flicked to the side, noticing that Kong Yu seemed a bit scared, his expression rather intriguing. Kong Yu gave an awkward laugh and said, A little. I heard that kind of pain is completely unbearable. I'm still a bit afraid of pain. Liao Haomiao took out his phone and searched, saying childbirth is almost always a level 10 to 12 pain. We'll have successfully completed the challenge if we can withstand level 12 for half an hour. But usually, childbirth pain lasts for a long time. Several hours is very normal. The men fell silent. They hadn't even started the experience, but it felt as if they could already feel the pain, their stomachs cramping. Jo-hung let out a breath, turned to look at Bai-tsong, and asked, You should be able to last a long time, right? You're so sturdy, you shouldn't be afraid of pain. Bai-tsong gave a bitter smile and said in a low voice, I can endure external injuries. As for internal pain, I don't know if I can. The kind of pain comes from the inside. I don't know if I can just grit my teeth and bear it. None of the four men had much confidence, so they were all quite quiet until they finally found a room for the experience program. Inside the room were a doctor, a machine, and a sofa that looked very comfortable to lie on. The men looked at the wall, where the sensations of various levels of pain were described. At level 10, the pain was like that of a broken hand or having one's flesh cut. Even so, it was still less than the pain of childbirth. The doctor first prepared the equipment and then looked at the four men standing stiffly. He asked, Excuse me, who would like to try first? The four of them looked at each other, none of them seeming to want to be the first to try, because what lay ahead was unknown pain. Someone had to be the first to sacrifice themselves and feel it out. Liao Haomiao pointed at the sofa and asked the doctor, This is definitely safe, right? Rest assured, our hospital has upgraded. This is very safe. There will be no danger. And if you can't hold on, I will stop it in time. Just as Jo-hung was about to take a step forward to be the first to try, a hand stopped him. Kong Yu stepped forward directly, looked at Jo-hung, and said, Brother Jo, I'll go first. Oh, then you go first. Jo-hung nodded. Since Kong Yu wanted to try first, he would let him. Kong Yu was the first to lie down on the sofa. Then, the doctor connected the instrument to Kong Yu's body. Kong Yu suddenly looked at the doctor beside him and whispered, Doctor, can I ask a question? What question? It's just this. The pain of a woman giving birth compared to a man's. Balls getting crushed. Which one hurts more? This. As soon as Kong Yu spoke, the other men felt a chill between their legs, their thighs involuntarily tightening. It was a pain only men knew, a pain so intense you could feel it even without having experienced it. The doctor waved his hand and said, These two types of pain are different. One is a dull, sharp, or cramping pain, while childbirth is mostly spasmodic pain. They can't be compared. But you see, we have a childbirth experience, not a crush balls experience, right? If it were you, which one would you want to experience? The first one, the four men said in unison, nodding without the slightest hesitation. From their calm eyes, it was clear they had no desire to experience the pain of crushed balls, not even a tiny bit. Not even a thought had been given to it. All right, get ready. I'm starting. The doctor adjusted the instrument, preparing to turn it on for Kong Yu. Jo-hung and the others stood beside Kong Yu, wanting to see what would happen. Level 1. Hiss out. Kong Yu's body trembled slightly with a hiss, as if he'd been zapped by static electricity. But it was just a sudden reaction. He recovered in an instant. It was obvious there wasn't much of a sensation. It feels. Okay, not much of a feeling. Level 2. The pain increased level by level, and Kong Yu's expression slowly changed from relaxed to serious, and then to somewhat pained. It's a little too painful to bear. Kong Yu gripped the railing beside him with his hand, biting his teeth, starting to writhe on the sofa in pain. This is only level 6. Is it that painful? The other three watched from the side, a bit puzzled. They had wanted to see Kong Yu's reaction to know what level of pain to expect, but this guy was really afraid of pain. Every level after 3 seemed to be extremely painful, all with the same expression. Should we go to level 7? The doctor saw Kong Yu's state and asked with some concern. But Kong Yu quickly waved his hand. No, 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 turn it off, turn it off. He was almost sweating from the pain, breathing rapidly, his hands clutching the base of his thighs. Then, the doctor turned off the instrument, and Kong Yu's breathing slowly returned to normal, his face gradually regaining its color. He stood up from the sofa, looked at the others, and scratched his head in embarrassment. Actually, I feel okay. I could still endure it, but the psychological fear is greater, right? Liao Haomiao directly stated the reason, making Kong Yu nod repeatedly in agreement. Right? It's just fear. Kong Yu could feel that he was just afraid of how much the next level would hurt, whether it would be a pain he couldn't bear. This psychological fear greatly amplified his sensation of pain, making it somewhat unbearable. Lying here required not only the ability to withstand pain, but also strong mental fortitude. Otherwise, one couldn't last. I'll be next. Liao Haomiao nodded, having understood what was going on. He volunteered and sat on the sofa, becoming the next to experience it. He just had to do his best to overcome his inner fear. As for the pain, he should be able to endure it. Let's begin. Liao Haomiao took off his glasses, set them aside, took a deep breath, and mentally prepared himself. This time, the doctor's operation was very fast, because Liao Haomiao's performance in the first few levels was very calm, as if he felt nothing at all. He knew his guess was right. This pain was completely bearable as long as one was mentally prepared and didn't have so much fear. When it reached level 6, Liao Haomiao began to frown tightly, his expression changing. This feeling was like the pain from gastroenteritis, a particularly severe stomach ache. Continue. After adapting to this pain, Liao Haomiao requested to go up another level. His hand also gripped the railing tightly as he took a deep breath. When the pain reached level 7, Liao Haomiao gritted his teeth, feeling a sensation much more painful than before. Even with ample preparation, he was still having trouble holding on. At this moment, it felt as if he were being brutally beaten in the stomach with a club. Although Liao Haomiao wasn't that afraid of pain, he was still finding it a bit hard to bear now. He clenched his jaw, and sweat trickled from his temples. Continue. Liao Haomiao went straight to level 8, feeling an even greater pain. He had already closed his eyes, trying his best to remain calm and not let his movements waste any extra energy. By the time Liao Haomiao reached level 9, he was starting to feel overwhelmed. This pain, which seemed to be hitting his nerves, made him quickly wave his hand and say, Okay, that's enough, let me off. Liao Haomiao called a stop in time. He could still speak normally and could have continued to endure, but he felt it was unnecessary. He had experienced enough. The thought that if Zhu Tao were to have a child, she would have to go through an even more painful sensation was something he couldn't imagine. With that, his idea of not having children became even more resolute. Liao Haomiao got off, his legs trembling a bit, but he was fine otherwise. He wiped the sweat from his forehead, put his glasses back on, and looked at the others, saying, I think I have a pretty good understanding of how painful it is now. Zhou Heng was taken aback and asked, Really? You only experienced it up to level 9. Liao Haomiao nodded. The pain of childbirth cannot be simulated by this machine. It's not just simple physiological pain, but a psychological ordeal. You never know how much more painful the next moment will be, and that's enough to intensify the pain in your mind. He had been sitting there for about 20 minutes and had already experienced these feelings. So he found it even more unimaginable, the ordeal one must go through during 10 months of pregnancy. Kong Yu's mouth hung slightly open. He paused, then gave a thumbs up and said, You really got something real out of that experience. He felt like he had gone up there and experienced nothing but a lot of pain, and then came down. Hearing Liao Haomiao's words, Zhou Heng also felt a pang in his heart. He hadn't even experienced that pain yet, but he could already appreciate Yimeng Ran's hardship. Who's next? Zhou Heng and Bai Tsong looked at each other and nodded. Bai Tsong understood what it meant. Zhou Heng still wanted to be the last one, so he was being asked to go first. Bai Tsong took a step forward, lay down on the sofa, looked straight ahead, and said, I'll go. Let's start directly from level 7. After lying down on the sofa, Bai Tsong said to the doctor beside him, surprising both Liao Haomiao and Kong Yu. However, the doctor didn't hesitate and directly fulfilled Bai Tsong's request, starting from level 7 pain. Bai Tsong lay there, pursing his lips. When he finally felt the pain, He looked at the doctor with a surprised expression and asked, "Has it started? Is this level 7? "Yes, it is." He was stunned for a moment, then looked at Zhou Heng, shook his head, and said, "I don't feel like this is very painful." Zhou Heng nodded nonchalantly, saying, "Well, that's normal for you. Your ability to endure pain is inherently stronger than others." He had already guessed that if it were by song, the experience would likely be different. Being so tough, his tolerance for pain was certainly stronger than the average person's. Now Kong Yu and Liao Haomiao felt a bit awkward. In comparison, the two of them felt like they'd lost some face. Kong Yu even wanted to challenge it again, thinking that if he gritted his teeth, he could probably hold on a bit longer. By the time it reached level 10 pain, Baitsong's face finally started showing signs of agony, and occasionally his facial muscles would twitch involuntarily. However, he didn't make a sound, just quietly enduring it all. The doctor was a little surprised. Generally, anyone who could last this long would have started screaming long ago. How could they still be so quiet? Level 11. The others could see Baitsong's veins bulging. His face turned beet red, his hands clenched tightly, and he was gasping for air. Anyone who didn't know better would have thought Baitsong was actually giving birth. "Don't hold it in. If it hurts, shout it out. It'll feel a bit better." Zhou Heng stood beside him and patted Baitsong's arm. This tap seemed to break Baitsong's concentration, and the next second he screamed out loud, "Ah! Quick, quick! Up!" Baitsong abruptly turned his head towards the doctor and shouted. He couldn't form complete sentences now, but he could still make his meaning clear. He wanted to go straight to level 12 to experience the pain of childbirth. The doctor couldn't make the decision and looked at Zhou Heng. Zhou Heng nodded in agreement. Subsequently, the doctor raised the level to 12, the highest level. Hiss! Baitsong's body began to convulse, trembling uncontrollably. His face was constantly changing color, and beads of sweat formed on his palms. He couldn't even speak. "Stop!" Baitsong squeezed out this one word. Zhou Heng immediately had the doctor turn off the machine. After it stopped, Baitsong's complexion returned to normal. He lay limply on the sofa, looking very relaxed. In the end, he had only lasted about 10 minutes at level 12 before he couldn't take it anymore. This kind of pain wasn't a surface wound. He could be beaten for 30 minutes or an hour and be fine, but this type of pain was something he found a bit unbearable. After getting off, Baitsong kept rubbing his stomach, feeling as if his intestines were still twitching slightly. He looked at Zhou Heng with some concern and said, "Maybe you shouldn't try it. It really hurts." Zhou Heng shook his head, sat directly on the sofa, and said, "What kind of talk is that? My wife is about to give birth, and I'm not going to try it myself." The four of them had come, and it would be ridiculous if he was the only one who didn't try. He was the one who should experience it the most, so he could understand how much pain Emin Gran would be in during childbirth. Even if he couldn't fully empathize, he could at least understand a little. Once Zhou Heng was ready, he looked at the doctor and said, "Start me directly from level 8. Everyone present couldn't help but widen their eyes, looking at Zhou Heng in astonishment. They thought, is he skipping all the build-up? Starting directly from level 8? Zhou Heng's thinking was simple. If he was determined to try the pain of childbirth, then the preceding levels were unnecessary. Starting at level 8 was just giving himself a bit of a buffer. Otherwise, he would have wanted to start from level 12. Baitsong looked at the doctor and said softly, "If anything happens, turn it off immediately." "Oh, okay." The doctor had never seen such a scene, but since Zhou Heng wanted to do it, he could only arrange it. The machine started directly at level 8 pain. When Zhou Heng felt the sensation, he couldn't help but frown. "How does it feel? Does it hurt a lot?" Kong Yu asked worriedly from his side. The other two also moved closer to Zhou Heng, as if afraid something might happen to him. If something were to happen to Zhou Heng, Liao Haomiao felt he would be guilty for the rest of his life, since it was his idea for them to come and experience this. "I'm fine. Keep increasing it." Zhou Heng's reaction was even calmer, seeming to endure it even better than Baitsong. It went straight to level 10. Zhou Heng still didn't make a sound, only breathing rapidly. The rhythm of his breaths was fast, but his face slowly turned red, and his arms seemed to swell, looking very powerful. "I'm going to increase it to level 11 now." Just as the doctor was about to increase it, Zhou Heng raised his head and stopped him. The doctor thought Zhou Heng wanted to stop and was about to turn off the machine, but Zhou Heng spoke up directly, straight to level 12. "Holy crap. Brother, can you handle it? Don't let anything happen to you. You still have to take care of Emin Gran," Liao Haomiao said with some worry. He was afraid the pain would cause some problem for Zhou Heng. With Emin Gran about to give birth, it would be bad if something happened to Zhou Heng. "I'm fine." Zhou Heng waved his hand and said without hesitation, He was already sweating from the pain, but his tone was still very calm, as if he didn't care about the pain at all. After reaching level 12, Zhou Heng's body suddenly shuddered. Then he started gritting his teeth, his hands gripping the sofa tightly, and his legs kicking around, his whole body twisting on the sofa. Ah! Zhou Heng cried out in pain, raising his right hand and slamming it down on his other arm, gripping it fiercely. Ah! That hand was Kong Yu's. He was being squeezed tightly by Zhou Heng's powerful hand, as if bitten by a python, making him scream in pain, even louder than Zhou Heng. Here, me too. Baizong directly rolled up his sleeve, extended his arm to Zhou Heng's side, and clenched his teeth. Zhou Heng was in so much pain, he didn't know what was happening anymore. He raised his hand and grabbed Baizong's arm, squeezing it tightly. Issa! Baizong immediately grimaced. He felt like Zhou Heng's hand was a pair of pliers, squeezing his bones until they ached. Liao Haomiao saw that both of them had already sacrificed themselves, though one of them who was screaming the most might have been a passive sacrifice. He had to help too. At this moment, all he could do was use words to help Zhou Heng persevere. Liao Haomiao grabbed Zhou Heng's legs and shouted, "Hold on, brother. Think of your family, your wife, your soon-to-be-born child. You can't give up. My wife." While enduring the excruciating pain, Zhou Heng pictured Yin Mingran's image in his mind. But no matter how he tried, all he could see was Yin Mingran's pure and lovely smile. He wanted to protect that smile at all costs. However, the thought that Yin Mingran would soon have to endure such pain filled him with agony. If he could, he really wanted to bear this suffering for her. Yes, that's right. Imagine it now. Imagine you're Yin Mingran, and I'm the doctor delivering the baby. Good. Deep breaths. Don't be nervous. Liao Haomiao stood in front of Zhou Heng, guiding him to breathe slowly, try his best to stabilize his state, and keep him from getting too agitated. Liao Haomiao lowered his head, looked down, and muttered, "Okay, spread your legs, push." "What the hell? Spread my ass. Don't look. You're not a doctor." Zhou Heng's face was beet red with pain, but he was still telling Liao Haomiao not to look. Liao Haomiao's mouth twitched, and he shouted, "Damn it. You're not Yin Mingran either. Aren't I helping you experience it immersively, letting you feel what it's like to give birth? I don't have a baby in my stomach. Just imagine you do, can't you?" Liao Haomiao shouted, then bent down and gently patted Zhou Heng's leg. "Push. I can see the head." Kong Yu's eyes went wide, and he exclaimed in amazement, "Holy crap. What head are you seeing?" "Ah!" Zhou Heng's hands squeezed violently, making Kong Yu and Baizong scream as well. They desperately tried to break free from Zhou Heng's grip, but it was useless. Their hands felt as if they were caught in the jaws of a wild beast, impossible to escape. Bang! Liao Haomiao was even kicked away by one of Zhou Heng's struggling legs. The entire sofa looked like it was about to be dismantled by Zhou Heng. The three of them couldn't hold him down. "Ha! Ha!" Zhou Heng's eyes stared at the ceiling, and it felt as if he was hallucinating. He seemed to see Yin Mingran waving and smiling at him. "Wife!" Zhou Heng raised his hand, as if trying to hold hands with the Yin Mingran before him, grasping at the air. The other three, including the doctor, stared blankly at the empty ceiling, their faces full of confusion. After more than 20 minutes, Zhou Heng had been holding on for over half an hour. It seemed as though he had gradually adapted, his reaction not as intense as it was at the beginning. The doctor didn't dare to continue any longer and turned off the machine. "Brother Zhou, you're incredible." The others quickly helped Zhou Heng up. At this moment, Zhou Heng seemed to be in a daze, unable to speak, his gaze somewhat blank. Zhou Heng kept staring straight ahead, his mind lost in thought. He didn't say a word until the others helped him out of the room. "Zhou Heng, are you okay?" Liao Haomiao asked with some concern. He was truly terrified that something had happened to Zhou Heng because of this. Zhou Heng paused, as if snapping back to reality, shook his head, and said, "I'm fine. I was just thinking about something." "You're not feeling uncomfortable anywhere, are you?" "No, not at all." Zhou Heng's reply was as if nothing had happened, but Liao Haomiao still felt that something was off. The four of them returned to Yin Mingran's hospital room. By now, the girls in the room seemed to have tired of chatting, as about 2 hours had passed. When they saw Zhou Heng and the others return, they were a bit puzzled. Why did the four of them look so exhausted? Yin Mingran blinked and asked, "Hubby, what were you guys doing?" Zhou Heng glanced at the others beside him and said, "The hospital has one of those childbirth experience programs, so I took them to try it out for a bit." The girls looked at each other, their faces filled with confusion, wondering why they would want to experience something like that. Kong Yu stepped forward, pointed at Zhou Heng, and said, My brother Joe was the only one to succeed in the challenge, holding on at level 12 pain for over half an hour. Whoa. As soon as he said this, all the girls present gasped in amazement. They looked at Joe Hung, who seemed perfectly fine, not at all like someone who had just gone through so much pain. Min Gran didn't say anything, just looked into Joe Hang's eyes, and Joe Hung looked back at her. The two of them just stared at each other. After a while, the group prepared to leave. They had come to see Min Gran, and staying longer would affect her rest. So they decided to leave first and come back when she was about to give birth. They didn't want to miss the moment the baby was born. After saying their goodbyes, the large group left the hospital. The spacious hospital room now only had Joe Hung and Min Gran left. They had just finished dinner. Joe Hung was tidying up while Min Gran sat on the hospital bed, playing with her phone, looking at the photos she had taken of herself and Joe Hung. After a while, Min Gran turned off her phone, looked at Joe Hung, and said softly, "Hubby." What is it? Want some fruit?" Joe Hung turned to look at Min Gran with a small smile. Min Gran smiled and shook her head, then patted the spot next to her on the bed and said, "Come here, I want to talk to you." Okay, coming. Joe Hung immediately dropped what he was doing and came to sit beside Min Gran. Min Gran took Joe Hang's hand, gently stroking it, and asked, "Today, why did you go to experience childbirth?" Joe Hung was taken aback, not expecting Min Gran to ask about this. He admitted that this experience was one of the most unique of his life, one he would never repeat. After it was over, he wasn't dwelling on the pain or recalling the sensations, but rather thinking about whether Min Gran would feel this much pain during delivery, or if it would be even worse. These were the things he was worried about. If he could, he wished he could bear all of Min Gran's pain, so she wouldn't have to feel any at all, but that was obviously impossible. He couldn't share the burden for her, which made him feel very melancholic, his heart filled with an ache for Min Gran. I wanted to experience how much pain you'll be in. I don't want to be clueless, not even understanding how much my own wife is suffering. Joe Hung sat beside her and sighed helplessly. Min Gran reached out and touched Joe Hang's cheek, saying softly, "Silly, if I'm in pain, you'll feel heartbroken. But in the same way, if you're in pain, I'll be heartbroken too. Why go and experience something like that? As long as you're by my side, no matter how much it hurts, I won't be afraid." 2 more days passed, and Joe Hung found it harder and harder to sleep, constantly staying by Min Gran's side, afraid that she would go into labor at any second. In the morning, Joe Hung began to pack Min Gran's things, saying, "Wife, my mom is coming today. She asked if there's anything you want to eat." No, tell mom not to bring anything. We have everything here." Min Gran quickly shook her head, refusing. She knew it was already difficult for Lu Wei to find time to visit her. As an assistant herself, she knew how much work there was. When Yuling Shiwei came to see her the other day, she had also mentioned how much work was waiting to be done. She had squeezed out time that day, so she knew that even if Lu Wei came, she would likely only stay for a little while before having to leave. All right, most of the visitors have come these past few days. Tang Ji should be free to come for a visit this afternoon. Joe Hung had also received a call from Tang Ji today. She had arranged all the work at the company. Even if he was gone for several days, she had everything planned out perfectly, so she had time to come see Min Gran. About an hour later, the door to the hospital room opened, and Lu Wei walked in. Joe Hung stood up, saw Lu Wei, and called out, "Mom." How's Ran?" Lu Wei still brought something, handed it to Joe Hung, and then walked inside. "Mom," Min Gran said upon seeing Lu Wei, about to sit up from the bed. Lu Wei quickly walked over and stopped her, telling her to lie down properly. "Rest well, don't move around. How are you feeling now?" "I'm feeling okay for now, but I think it'll be in the next 2 days. I can already feel that he wants to come out." Min Gran touched her belly with a small smile. She had been feeling it for a few days. She knew the baby was about to be born. Lu Wei looked at Min Gran's belly, a faint smile on her lips. She then turned to Joe Hung and asked, "Are you ready?" "Of course, I've prepared everything. There won't be any problems." "No, I'm not asking about that. I'm asking if you're ready to be a father." Lu Wei looked into Joe Hang's eyes, her tone becoming a bit serious. Joe Hung took a deep breath, then slowly exhaled and said softly, "Yes, I'm ready." He had thought about it for countless days and nights. From initial confusion to his current resolve, he had thought a lot. Now, he could handle any situation. "Good, that's good. If anything happens, just tell us. No matter when, your father and I will always be your strongest support." Lu Wei smiled with satisfaction. Hearing Joe Hang's answer, she knew that the current Joe Hung was very different, much more mature. He was ready to be a qualified father. Lu Wei stayed for the whole morning, chatting a lot. and then left around noon. Zhou Heng and Yin Mingran had lunch together, and then the afternoon came. They had plenty of free time, so leisurely that they didn't even know what to do. Sometimes, the two of them would sit together looking at their phones for a long time. Hey, I'm here. In the afternoon, Tang Ji arrived. After finishing her work, she rushed over. As soon as she got here, she saw Zhou Heng and Yin Mingran leaning against each other, looking at their phones, seeming quite bored. Tang Ji, you're here. Yin Mingran was very happy to see her friend. Being stuck here, not seeing friends was what made her feel a bit lonely. Tang Ji looked a bit tired. After coming in, she sat directly on the sofa. Zhou Heng scratched his head awkwardly and said apologetically, "Sorry, you must have been very tired recently." Tang Ji waved her hand and said, "It's fine, as long as you take good care of Ranran. Don't worry about the company. I've already arranged everything. I'm definitely not worried with you in charge. After this period is over, you should take a good long rest." Zhou Heng nodded. He knew only Tang Ji could handle things so well, which was why he entrusted everything to her. "It's the same whether I rest or not. I don't have much else to do. By the way, how long has it been since you last played games?" Zhou Heng suddenly remembered that he hadn't seen Tang Ji play games for a long time. He himself had stopped playing a long time ago, but Tang Ji had kept playing. Now it seemed like she hadn't played in a while either. "Me? About half a year, I think." Tang Ji thought about it. It had indeed been a long time. She used to think she could do without a relationship, but not without games. Now, she was surprised by her own change, having gone so long without playing. Was it because work was too busy? Half a year without gaming? Too busy with no time to play? Zhou Heng asked with some surprise. "Not really. It's just that after I focused on work, I played games a lot less. You could say I treat work as a game. Going to work every day is like logging in to play," Tang Ji said with a wave of her hand and a smile. "You're really something else." Zhou Heng gave a thumbs up in admiration, thinking that only Tang Ji could have such a mindset. Tang Ji really didn't mind. When she wanted to play games, she would. If she didn't want to, she wouldn't. She did whatever she wanted. That was her mentality. Right now, what she wanted to do was work hard and realize her own value. In the evening, Tang Ji had dinner with the two of them, and then planned to leave. She walked to the door, turned to look at Zhou Heng and Yin Mingran behind her, and said, "I'm leaving now. You have to let me know the moment she's about to give birth. I have to be the first one there, got it?" All right, got it. I'll walk you out." Yin Mingran got off the bed, her big belly preceding her, and walked to the door to see Tang Ji off. "Oh, no need to see me out, go get some rest," Tang Ji said, then glanced at the floor. She suddenly noticed something and looked down at the ground. Yin Mingran also looked down because she felt something strange. A warm stream flowed down her pant leg to the floor. The two of them looked up and met each other's eyes, their gazes full of shock. Zhou Heng also walked over, his eyes wide with horror, his face a mask of shock. "Her water broke. She's going into labor." Around 10 o'clock at night, Yin Mingran entered the delivery room. Zhou Heng also changed into scrubs and followed her in. He had to be by Yin Mingran's side, in her most difficult moment, to accompany her. She said it would ease her pain. Tang Ji was also busy running around. At the same time, after they entered the delivery room, she called to notify the others. Everyone was thrilled to hear the news. Those who were free and nearby at that time all came. Shunlini, Tong Yining, Kong Yu, Yu Jingwan, and others. The rest were too far away, and it was a bit late, so they couldn't arrive immediately, but they were all on their way. What do we do? What do we do?" Tong Yining paced back and forth in the hallway, looking very nervous and anxious. Tang Ji seemed exceptionally calm, sitting there and saying softly, "What are you so anxious about? It's fine, she'll be out soon. I'm just a little worried, you know. I hope everything goes smoothly and the baby is born safely." Tong Yining clasped her hands together and began to pray silently. Shunlini also sat beside Tang Ji, waiting quietly. As soon as she heard the news that the baby was coming, she came right away, ready to help if needed. Inwardly, she was also very anxious, but she didn't show it. She could only pray silently that everything would be all right. Kong Yu held Yu Jingwan's hand. On the verge of witnessing the birth of Zhou Heng and Yin Mingran's child, he was extremely excited, as if he were witnessing a historic moment. While it was not peaceful outside the delivery room, it was relatively quiet inside. At this moment, Yin Mingran had been in pain for several hours and was finally at the point where she could deliver the baby. Her sweat-soaked hair was plastered messily to her forehead. Her brows were knitted together, her nostrils flared, and she was breathing rapidly. Her lips were pale, her face was also quite wan, and the sweat on her body had not stopped flowing from the pain. Jo Hung stood by her side, tightly holding Im Mingran's hand. But he was very surprised because even in so much pain, Im Mingran never cried out once. At her most painful moments, Im Mingran would just shut her eyes tightly, clutch Jo Hang's hand, and press it to her cheek, as if that could make her feel a bit better. Jo Hang thought about how he himself had screamed his throat hoarse when he was in that much pain, yet Im Mingran could endure it without making a sound. It seemed that men like them were no match for a woman like Im Mingran. "Wife, you can do it, wife." Jo Hung cheered for Im Mingran from the side. Seeing her like this, his heart ached. He only wished it could be over quickly, so Im Mingran would suffer less and not have to endure such pain any longer. Im Mingran couldn't say much now, biting her lip. She couldn't even hear clearly what Jo Hung was saying, but just hearing his voice made her feel much better, greatly reducing the pain. Time passed minute by minute. Jo Hung felt extremely helpless, but could only pray for a swift end. It was now past 11 at night. Outside the delivery room, the group was chatting, their emotions having stabilized quite a bit. Have they named the baby? They have. I think it's Jo Wayan. Should they give him a nickname? Anin? Sound a bit like a girl's name. Hey, you guys, what should the baby call me? Uncle Kong. What else? Actually, I wanted to be the baby's godfather. In your dreams. As they were chatting, the light above the delivery room door suddenly went out. The group quickly stood up and gathered at the door, all looking very nervous. After a moment, the door slowly opened and a doctor walked out. They immediately surrounded him, wanting to hear the result from the doctor's mouth. The doctor took off his mask and said with a smile, "Mother and son are both safe and sound." Yay! The group cheered. Tang Ji, who had been the calmest, let out a heavy breath. In reality, she had been the most worried. From the moment Im Mingran's pain started, her heart had been in her throat. She had followed Jo Hung around, helping with many things. Now, hearing that the baby was born safely, she was extremely happy. At that moment, the sound of a baby's cry came from within the delivery room. Jo Hung stood there, holding a swaddled infant in his arms. It was a healthy baby boy, his and Im Mingran's child. Jo Hung looked down at the baby's face, his pupils seeming to tremble. Even with all the preparations, the moment he became a father still caught him off guard. Along with the child came the greatest responsibility he had ever received, the responsibility of being a father. Jo Hung slowly placed the baby beside Im Mingran. At this moment, Im Mingran was very weak, her face pale, even breathing was a bit difficult. She hadn't recovered yet, feeling extremely uncomfortable, but thankfully, it was over. She slowly opened her eyes and looked at the infant beside her. Strangely, the baby, who had been crying nonstop just a moment ago, quieted down the instant he was laid next to Im Mingran. He was very well behaved, sleeping peacefully. A smile slowly formed on Im Mingran's lips. She reached out and gently hugged the infant, saying in a very weak voice, "My child, this is my and Jo Hang's baby. It's our baby." Jo Hung looked at his wife and child before him, and in that instant, he felt incredibly happy. "Wife, you've worked so hard." Jo Hung reached out and gently stroked Im Mingran's cheek, his expression doting, his tone extremely gentle. Im Mingran held Jo Hang's hand, pressed it against her cheek, nuzzled it a couple of times like a kitten, and then smiled blissfully. She had finally accomplished a major event in her life, giving birth to a child for Jo Hung. Throughout her pregnancy, she had always been happy, never anxious, and there was no possibility of depression, because Jo Hung was truly so good to her, taking extra care of her during pregnancy. Giving birth to this child, she was happy, she was blissful. "Hubby, what is it? Thank you for letting me become a mother. Baby, look here. I'm your auntie. I'm your little auntie. Look here, look here." In the nursery of the postpartum care center, Im Mingran was holding the baby, surrounded by a crowd of friends. Almost all the friends who could make it were there. Seeing the baby in Im Mingran's arms, they were all absolutely smitten, each picking up a toy to tease the baby. Im Mingran was also ecstatic, holding the baby and interacting with everyone, playing together. Although she was currently in her confinement period and needed to rest, and didn't have to look after the baby for now, she couldn't refuse the requests of others to come and play, nor could she resist the desire to see her own baby. Everyone also knew to be moderate. They would leave after a little while. Im Mingran needed a rest now. Anyway, once she was out of confinement, they could still play together and see the baby. In the evening, Jo Hung was in a room taking care of Im Mingran, washing her feet and feeding her fruit. Jo Hung didn't neglect her after she gave birth. On the contrary, he loved Im Mingran even more, doting on her and caring for her twice as much as before. He knew how hard it was for Min Gran to have the baby, so he wanted to make it up to her, to turn all her hardship into happiness. "Hubby, you're very tired too. You should get some rest early," Min Gran said, looking at Zhou Heng, who was waiting on her. Though her heart was filled with joy and immense happiness, she also fell for Zhou Heng, worried he would be too tired, too overworked. "It's fine, this is nothing. As long as you can rest well, that's all that matters." A smile was always on Zhou Heng's face. He didn't feel it was hard work at all. He felt these were things he ought to do. He wouldn't feel at ease letting someone else take care of her, so he chose to do it himself. Every day, he would only dare to sleep after Min Gran had fallen asleep, and he slept very lightly. The slightest sound from Min Gran would wake him. So, as long as Min Gran was here, whenever she needed him, Zhou Heng would be there, never absent, giving her a full sense of security. "Hubby, can you take a good rest for a while after this? You've been so exhausted lately. If you go back to work without a break, I'm afraid you'll be too tired." Min Gran gently tried to persuade Zhou Heng. She knew he wasn't afraid of being tired or working hard, but one's health is one's own. If he collapsed from overwork, it wouldn't be worth it. "It's okay, I'm not tired, and I'm planning to go back to work early after a while, so Tangji can get some rest. She's been working so hard for me. I think she needs a good break." Min Gran understood this point. She knew how tired Tangji was, and that it was all for the two of them, so she definitely needed a good rest. Her health couldn't be compromised. "Okay, fine. But after Tangji gets a rest, you must also take a good long break. Promise me, you hear?" "All right, I know. We'll take a break together then. We'll go out and have some fun. How about that?" Hearing about going out to have fun with Zhou Heng, Imingran's face lit up with surprise, but the next second, she thought of a serious problem. "What about the baby then? We can have someone else look after him for a bit. There's so many people, someone can definitely do it." Zhou Heng thought that if he and Min Gran were to go out, the baby would have to be looked after by someone else. He didn't want to be taking care of a baby while out with Min Gran. Have someone else look after him? That's not very good, is it? I'm a bit worried." Min Gran was still a little concerned. After all, she had just given birth not long ago. She wasn't at ease with someone else taking care of her child now. "It's fine. If worst comes to worst, we can ask my mom to watch him. You can trust her, right? She'll watch him whenever she's free." Zhou Heng had many candidates in mind, but he felt the best person would be his own mother. After all, so many children have been raised by their grandmothers. A grandmother surely wouldn't let anything happen to her grandson. Okay then. Time flew by, and Imingran's body recovered better and better. In just a few more days, she would be out of her confinement. On this day, Zhou Heng received a call from his father, Zhou Junyao. "Hello, Dad, what's up? We're holding a full-month banquet for my grandson today. You must be there to greet the guests with me." "A full-month banquet? Oh, right. I almost forgot. When is it?" "At noon. Are you free now? Come to the company first, we'll go together. How is little Ran? It should be fine if you leave for a bit, right?" This. Zhou Heng looked at Min Gran beside him. Min Gran had already heard what was said on the phone. She mouthed the words "go ahead" to Zhou Heng. Zhou Heng nodded and said to the phone, "Okay, I got it. I'm going to the company now." After hanging up, Zhou Heng started to get dressed. Min Gran quickly pointed to the wardrobe and said, "Oh, hubby, don't wear that. Your suit is in the wardrobe. I brought it for you. Let me get it." Min Gran walked to the wardrobe and took out Zhou Heng's suit. "Here, take it. Wear this. I bought it for you before. Look good. There will be many important guests. You can't be careless." All right, I know, wife." Zhou Heng leaned over, kissed Imingran's cheek, and grinned. "Is there anything you want to eat? I'll bring it back for you tonight." I want a little cake." "You got it." After getting ready, Zhou Heng prepared to leave for the company. He wanted to ask when this full-month banquet was decided, and why he wasn't told. He hadn't even invited his friends. However, since he wasn't told and wasn't given time to prepare, it meant the banquet had already been arranged by his father. Zhou Heng arrived at Juanheng as quickly as possible. He hadn't been back to the company in over a month and felt a bit of a stranger. The security guard at the entrance still recognized him and greeted him. Zhou Heng responded and immediately went inside. While waiting for the elevator, someone tapped him on the shoulder from behind. "Zhou Heng, is that you?" Zhou Heng turned around and saw a woman standing behind him, looking at him with great surprise. Zhou Heng also recognized her. This person was from the logistics department. Her name was Li Ku. She was the one who had shown him around on his first day at Juanheng. However, he had been called away by his father back then and had never seen Li Ku again. He didn't expect her to still remember him. Li Ku said with pleasant surprise, "It really is you. By the way, which department are you interning in? I haven't seen you for so long." Where am I interning?" Zhou Heng was taken aback. He hadn't said much to Li Ku back then, and she didn't know where he was actually interning. They hadn't seen each other since. Today, he wasn't wearing a work badge or anything since he wasn't here to work. So for a moment, he didn't know how to answer. Did he still need to pretend? It probably wasn't necessary anymore, was it? Zhou Heng pointed upstairs and said, I'm interning with the CEO. I'm the CEO's assistant. As soon as he said this, Li Ku's eyes widened instantly, and she froze on the spot, her mouth slightly agape, as if she were speechless. She had only met Zhou Heng once, a brief encounter, but because Zhou Heng was rather special at the time, her memory of him was fresh. She had thought Zhou Heng was special, but she hadn't expected him to be this special. Who could get an internship as the CEO's assistant right after joining Juinheng? This must mean his background was not simple, right? But wasn't Juinheng's policy strictly against nepotism? Li Ku lowered her voice and whispered in Zhou Heng's ear. How did you manage that? She was too embarrassed to ask outright if he had pulled strings, so she could only inquire this way. She could already faintly sense that Zhou Heng's identity was not simple. Before, she thought he had a deep connection with Yuing Hai, but now that Yuing Hai was gone and his faction had been more or less purged, Zhou Heng was still standing here unscathed, and as the CEO's assistant no less. This proved that the person behind him was definitely not Yuing Hai. I didn't do anything. My dad arranged it. He's the chairman. He has the final say. Chair. Oh, chairman. No wonder. At this point, this answer was acceptable to Li Ku and not so surprising anymore. She felt it all made sense now. To be able to openly use connections and be appointed directly as the CEO's assistant. Besides the chairman and CEO himself, no one else could do that. I'm sorry if my attitude was bad before. Please forgive me. Li Ku whispered an apology. Although she hadn't done anything wrong, when facing such a powerful figure, it was better to be a little humble. Despite knowing Zhou Heng's identity, she didn't feel any of the pride or arrogance that such a high position might bring. He felt just like an ordinary colleague, without any sense of distance. What are you apologizing for? I don't know many people here. You're at least an acquaintance of mine. No need to be so formal with me. Zhou Heng's tone was calm, but his kindness could be felt. Hearing this, Li Ku's tense mood immediately relaxed. She could feel that Zhou Heng was genuinely approachable. The two chatted for a while longer. The elevator Zhou Heng was waiting for was about to arrive. Li Ku became more and more talkative, covering her mouth as she giggled and asked, For someone like you, there must be a lot of girls chasing you, right? Are you having trouble choosing a girlfriend? Zhou Heng walked into the elevator, looked at Li Ku outside, and gave a faint smile. I'm already a dad. Huh? Li Ku's smile froze. She watched as the elevator doors closed and Zhou Heng ascended. Li Ku was stunned for a long time. She remembered that Zhou Heng was only a year or two younger than her. She didn't even have a boyfriend, and Zhou Heng already had a child. Zhou Heng arrived at the top floor and went to his father's office. He knocked on the door and walked in to find him on the phone. Zhou Heng didn't disturb him, just walked in and sat on the sofa, poured himself a cup of tea, and waited. The content of the phone call seemed to be congratulatory, likely about today's full-month banquet. Zhou Junyao kept smiling and saying the other party was too kind, as if chatting with a good old friend. After more than 10 minutes, Zhou Junyao finally hung up and looked at Zhou Heng. Why didn't you bring my grandson over? Zhou Heng crossed his legs and said with a smile, Your grandson is sleeping. You've seen that kid's temper, haven't you? If he's woken up from sleep, no one can soothe him except his mom. Once he starts crying, it never ends. Zhou Junyao really didn't have much time, so he had only seen the baby once. That time, he truly witnessed how big the child's temper was. He wouldn't let anyone touch him and would cry endlessly. Even Zhou Heng couldn't calm him down. Only Yimin Gran could. This child will be quite something when he grows up. No one will be able to handle him. He'll probably cause you a lot of trouble. You need to be mentally prepared. Zhou Junyao said this, but the corners of his mouth were turned up, and he crossed his arms, looking quite pleased. Zhou Heng said with some distress, Who knows? His mother is so gentle, with such a good temper. Who does this kid take after? For a moment, the atmosphere became quiet. Zhou Heng looked up and stared blankly at his father, blinking. They looked at each other for a while. Then Zhou Heng pointed at himself, frowned slightly, and asked, Does he take after me? Is my temper that bad? What? You think your temper is very good? I feel. It's all right. Zhou Heng scratched his head awkwardly. His self-assessment was quite good. His temper was just so-so. But since Yimin Gran was definitely the one with the good temper, it meant the child's bad temper was his fault. Was his temper really that bad? Did he give all his good temper to Yimin Gran? Was that why he hadn't realized this problem? Anyway, You must educate this child well. With such a personality, if educated well, he can achieve great things. If not, it will lead to disaster. Okay, I understand. Zhou Heng nodded. He knew that a child's education was a major issue. He remembered that when he was a child, even though his parents were extremely busy and he rarely saw them, they had educated him very well. He had almost no rebellious phase, understood all the necessary principles, and his mindset and attitude were all very good. Zhou Heng stood up, thinking of a question, and asked, "Dad, I didn't notify my friends about the baby's full-month banquet. The guest list and all that. Have you arranged it?" Zhou Junyao nodded and said softly, On the surface, it's a full-month banquet today, but in reality, it's a business gathering. All the prominent figures in Dongzhou will attend. It's also an opportunity to let those guys get to know you. So you must not let me down. I understand." Zhou Heng now understood the importance of this gathering. It was likely an opportunity to push him to the forefront, to let others know that there was such a figure in Juanheng. Seeing that Zhou Junyao was still busy, Zhou Heng went to his own office. Tang Ji was working in her office and was a little surprised to see Zhou Heng. Zhou Heng explained his reason for being there. Hearing it was for the child's full-month banquet, she was a bit puzzled why she hadn't been notified. However, Zhou Heng explained there were special reasons, that it was Zhou Junyao's arrangement. Understanding this, Tang Ji didn't think much of it. Zhou Heng sat on the sofa, while Tang Ji made him a cup of coffee and placed it on the coffee table. She leaned against the desk beside him and asked softly, "Do you think something will happen at this banquet? I just feel like it's not that simple." Zhou Heng picked up the coffee, took a small sip, put it down, and said, "Probably not. How could trouble always find its way to me?" Tang Ji let out a snort, shrugged, and said, "I don't know. Maybe you should find someone to read your fortune. Maybe someone around you is jinxing you." "Oh, and what if the result of the reading is you?" Tang Ji waved her hand dismissively. "Impossible. I bring good luck to my brother, but I jinx any husband." Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is the first time I've heard of bringing good luck to a brother. You're really good at tooting your own horn. Tang Ji pouted, crossed her arms, and said softly, How about I resign and stay far away from you? Then we'll see if it's really me jinxing you." As soon as she said this, Zhou Heng immediately waved his hands. No, I was just kidding. If you resign now, I'll explode. I admit I need your help with too many things." Tang Ji let out a satisfied hum. Then, she turned and walked behind the desk, taking out something like a silk pouch from a drawer. "Here." Tang Ji tossed the pouch to Zhou Heng. He caught it, paused, and asked, "What's this?" "This is a pouch with a secret plan I'm giving you. When you encounter difficulties, are hesitant, or feel lost, open it, and it will help you." "Well, now, this is quite a good thing. I'll take it then." Zhou Heng smiled with interest, and then put the pouch away in his pocket. He didn't know what was inside, but since Tang Ji gave it to him, it must be useful, so he made a mental note of it. After a little while, Zhou Heng received a call from Zhou Junyao. He glanced at the time. It was about time to go. After saying goodbye to Tang Ji, Zhou Heng went back to Zhou Junyao's office. Zhou Junyao had mostly finished his work, put on his coat, and prepared to leave with Zhou Heng. Although there was still some time before noon, as hosts, they wanted to go a bit earlier. They had heard that many people had already arrived. Zhou Heng walked beside Zhou Junyao to his car. The driver opened the back door, and Zhou Junyao got in. Zhou Heng didn't choose to sit in the back with him, but opened the front passenger door and got in. Then, the driver drove away from the company, heading towards the destination. The full-month banquet was set at a hotel, the Platinum International Hotel. Zhou Heng recognized at a glance that this was Bai Tsang's family's hotel. Zhou Heng glanced at Zhou Junyao in the rearview mirror and understood his intention. In Dongzhou City, the owners of all the major hotels would likely attend the banquet. Thus, choosing which hotel to hold the event, it became a big issue. Most hotel owners would have loved to pay Zhou Junyao to choose their hotel, even offering everything for free. This was very important to them, like an emperor choosing a consort. In Dongzhou, Juanheng was like an emperor. Being chosen was a great fortune, and the future benefits would surely outweigh the current losses, making it a very good deal. But when one consort is chosen, it would attract the envy, jealousy, and hatred of others. This made it very difficult for the emperor. Choosing anyone was not appropriate. A slight misstep and the harem would explode, making things even more difficult. So Zhou Junyao chose the Bai family's hotel. The Bai family's power was self-evident, with few rivals. The few stronger than the Bai family had good relations with them and were unlikely to become enemies. Moreover, Bai Zhengji was the vice president of Juanheng. So choosing the Bai family's hotel made almost no one feel uncomfortable. Everyone thought it was reasonable. It seemed he would also see Baitsong today. On such an important occasion, Vice President Bai would not let Baitsong be absent, even if it was just to liven things up. This made Zhou Heng feel pretty good. At least he could see a friend at such an event, which would make him less awkward. When no one was talking to him, he wouldn't just be standing there foolishly. Son. Just then, Zhou Junyao, who had been resting with his eyes closed in the back, suddenly spoke. Zhou Heng turned to look at him and asked, "What's wrong? No matter what happens later, stay calm. Understand?" MMM. All right, I understand. Zhou Heng paused for a moment, thinking about what Zhou Junyao meant. He roughly understood that the event later would not be a simple banquet. Everything was filled with unknowns, so he was told to remain calm. Zhou Heng considered himself a very calm person. No matter what happened, there shouldn't be any major problems, right? About 20 minutes later, the car arrived at the hotel. Before even getting out, Zhou Heng could see a crowd of people standing at the entrance. Most were in their 30s, not old. Among them, Zhou Heng saw a familiar figure, Baitsong. After the car stopped, Baitsong came up with a smile. The driver quickly got out and opened the back door. When Baitsong saw Zhou Junyao, he greeted him respectfully. "Uncle Zhou, long time no see." Zhou Junyao smiled slightly and replied, "Is your dad here?" "Father is inside, helping to entertain the guests." Baitsong looked up, saw Zhou Heng getting out, and gave him a nod, a silent greeting with his eyes. Then, Zhou Heng saw the people standing at the entrance all surge forward, walking towards them, each with a smile on their face. President Zhou, hello, President Zhou, do you remember me? One time, President Zhou, you. The moment Zhou Junyao got out of the car, he was instantly surrounded. All the people waiting at the hotel in trance rushed forward to greet him, pushing even Zhou Heng to the side. He watched the scene with a bewildered expression, not knowing what to say. Baitsong stood beside Zhou Heng and whispered, "These are all the sons of the big bosses inside. They were all forcibly sent by their fathers to suck up. Because those old guys have to maintain their dignity and face, they can only send their kids to greet people." "Oh, I see." Zhou Heng felt a bit helpless. He was already starting to get tired of these kinds of occasions, yet he had to attend them. The thought that one day he would be the one surrounded in the middle made him feel vexed. Zhou Junyao stood there, casually dismissing the people around him. His expression and demeanor showed that he didn't take them seriously at all. He looked as if he had experienced such scenes countless times and was long used to it. Then, security guard from the hotel came out and protected Zhou Junyao, separating him from the crowd, just as those people were about to get angry. After all, what right did these security guards have to stop them? They weren't people to be trifled with. Another person walked out of the hotel. He stood there, and instantly, they all quieted down because this person was the owner of this very hotel, Bai Zhengji. Old Bai. When Zhou Junyao saw Bai Zhengji, he raised his hand and waved, greeting him with a smile. Bai Zhengji also smiled and replied, "You're here, quite early. I thought you'd be a bit later." "How could I be? Today is a very important day." "So, where's your precious grandson? Why isn't he here?" "Little one is sleeping. We wouldn't dare wake him. It's better to let him sleep soundly." Ha ha. Zhou Junyao and Bai Zhengji chatted for a bit, looking very happy, completely ignoring the people they had left to the side. But no one dared to step forward and say anything. Zhou Heng walked over and also greeted Bai Zhengji. "President Bai, well done, Zhou Heng. You've handled a major life event without needing your parents to worry at all. Becoming a father at such a young age. Baitsong, learn from him, understand?" Bai Zhengji said, then looked at Baitsong beside him and instructed him in a low voice. Baitsong scratched his head awkwardly, then quickly replied, Yes, father." The group walked into the hotel together, followed by a crowd of people, like their underlings. They arrived at the grand banquet hall. At this time, the exquisitely decorated hall was already filled with many people, each with an extraordinary air, looking rich and noble. Pleasant music played in the hall, and most people were engaged in conversation, laughing lightly. When they saw Zhou Junyao and his group arrive, they immediately stopped talking, their respectful gazes and friendly smiles all focused on Zhou Junyao. Zhou Junyao patted Zhou Heng's shoulder beside him and said, "Go and walk around by yourself for a bit, get to know some other people." Okay. Zhou Heng nodded and agreed. Then, he stopped following Zhou Junyao. Baitsong also stayed behind and started whispering in Zhou Heng's ear, introducing the other people present. Zhou Heng committed them to memory, feeling a bit amazed inside. He hadn't expected so many important figures. He had heard of all their companies. Baitsong got a glass of red wine from the side, handed it to Zhou Heng, and then patted his shoulder, saying, "You need to act like the host. After you take over, all these people will have to look to you for favor. Zhou Heng took the red wine, took a deep breath, nodded, and said, I know. Just then, Zhou Heng heard a man's voice from behind him. Hello, you must be President Zhou's son, right? Zhou Heng turned around to see a man in his 40s standing behind him. When Bai Tasong was introducing people earlier, he had committed him to memory. The man before him was the boss of a resort. Hello. You're President Yang, right? The man was clearly surprised that Zhou Heng knew him, a hint of pleasant surprise on his face. He nodded and started chatting with Zhou Heng. Zhou Heng could feel that the other party was very respectful when talking to him, not at all like he was talking to Junior. It was as if they were peers. Zhou Heng, in turn, did not lose his etiquette, being careful not to say the wrong thing during their conversation. But this is truly a joyous occasion. Congratulations to President Zhou on having another son, and congratulations to you, young Master Zhou, on having a younger brother. Zhou Heng was momentarily stunned by the man's words, frowning in confusion, blinking, his face a picture of bewilderment. After a few seconds, Zhou Heng realized the man seemed to have made a mistake. Did he think this full-month banquet was for his father's new son? No. Eaches me. It's my son's full-month banquet. Zhou Heng held out his hand, pointed at himself, and explained with some embarrassment. The man was also taken aback, then slapped his forehead and said, Oh, so that's what it is. My apologies. I misunderstood. I thought President Zhou had another son. I didn't realize it was his grandson. Oh, I'm really. It's fine. Zhou Heng felt both amused and exasperated, and a bit helpless. No wonder during their chat just now, the man kept telling him not to be too stressed, to pay attention to family harmony, not to let the family fall apart for the sake of profit. He had originally thought the man was advising him to be a good person and work hard. Now that he thought about it, did the man think his father having another son meant he had a new competitor? Would there be a struggle for succession later? My apologies. Congratulations then, young Master Zhou. I'll head over there first. It was nice chatting with you. The man, knowing he had misunderstood, was a bit embarrassed and wanted to leave immediately. Zhou Heng didn't stop him, just waved him off. Zhou Heng muttered to himself, this guy is really something. Then, Zhou Heng took 2 steps back without looking behind him. The next second, he bumped into something. Crash! Zhou Heng immediately turned around and saw that a girl had been standing behind him at some point. She was very young, looking about his age, maybe even a few years younger. And just now, he had bumped into her, knocking over the wine glass in her hand. The glass was now on the floor, and the red wine from the glass had spilled all over her. Most importantly, Zhou Heng saw that the girl was wearing a rather revealing dress with a very low neckline, and she had a very good figure. The large expanse of snowy white skin on her chest was now soaked with red wine. The crimson liquid trickled down the curve, through the gap, and disappeared. Zhou Heng looked at the girl before him, his face a mask of embarrassment and bewilderment. Because the girl was also wearing a white dress, it was now soaked with red wine. Her long hair, which fell forward, was also drenched. The situation was disastrous. The people around them all saw the scene and began to whisper among themselves, making Zhou Heng even more embarrassed. The girl had a very cute face, her eyes shining like black obsidian. However, at this moment, her face was expressionless. You couldn't tell if she was angry or what her attitude was, as if she wasn't the one who had just been doused in red wine. I'm very sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Zhou Heng hurriedly apologized, cautiously looking around, trying to see which family she belonged to. He didn't want to create a feud between Junheng and another company just because he had accidentally spilled wine on someone. Zhou Heng quickly got a towel from a nearby waiter and handed it to the girl, saying, You should wipe it off. I really didn't mean to. I'm sorry. The girl glanced down at the towel Zhou Heng offered, but didn't take it. Instead, she puffed out her chest. You wipe it for me. In an instant, Zhou Heng was completely dumbfounded, standing there with his mouth agape, as if he had turned to stone. He suspected he had misheard, or perhaps she had misspoken. Zhou Heng blinked, then lowered his head and accidentally saw the girl's proffered chest, still dripping with red wine, flowing downwards. With just one glance, Zhou Heng quickly turned his head away, closed his eyes, and didn't look again. He said, Miss, please don't joke around. Hurry up and wipe it. The girl continued to approach, forcing Zhou Heng to retreat step by step. What? Isn't this your fault? So shouldn't you be the one to wipe it for me? The girl said, still expressionless, her tone flat, but her body drew closer and closer. Oh no, that's definitely not okay. Zhou Heng waved his hands frantically and then just covered her chest with the towel. He knew it was his fault, but there was no way he could do something like that. The girl seemed to realize that Zhou Heng would absolutely not help her wipe it. So she removed the towel and said softly, "Then, can you take me to a room to take a shower? Let me change into a different set of clothes. I can't just wipe this off and be fine, can I?" The girl looked down at herself. The white dress was practically unwearable, and the red wine on her was very uncomfortable. A shower and a change of clothes were definitely necessary. Okay, I'll have someone take you to a room." Zhou Heng nodded. He turned around, preparing to find Baitsong. This was his family's hotel. It shouldn't be a problem for him to take this girl to a room for a shower. But just as Zhou Heng turned to leave, the girl suddenly reached out and grabbed his clothes. "Don't you try to run away. You take me. So many distinguished guests are watching me right now. If you leave now and ignore me, aren't you just trying to make me a laughingstock?" Zhou Heng turned his head and looked at the girl behind him. By now, there was a hint of grievance on her face. Zhou Heng was stunned. He was at a loss for what to do. After all, it was true. He had accidentally bumped into her, spilling the wine and ruining her dress. Now, with so many people watching, all of whom were industry leaders, this girl was certainly not an ordinary person. To be embarrassed in front of these people, some of whom might even be competitors, was indeed no small matter. And he had caused all of it. He was indeed responsible. If he just left like this, it would seem too irresponsible. Okay then. I'll take you. Zhou Heng thought to himself that it wasn't a big deal. If she wanted him to take her, then he would. So, Zhou Heng led the girl out of the banquet hall. He asked a waiter to take them to a room. Although the waiter didn't know who Zhou Heng and the girl were, he knew that there were no small figures in this banquet hall. Every single one was a big shot. So he didn't dare to be slow, and directly took the two of them to one of the best rooms in the hotel. After opening the door, Zhou Heng let the girl go inside while he stood outside the door and said, "All right, I brought you here. This should be enough, right? I'll be leaving then. But you can't just leave me like this. The clothes I need to change into are in my car. Can you go get them for me? Thanks." As she spoke, the girl casually took out a car key and tossed it to Zhou Heng. Zhou Heng subconsciously caught the key and stood there stunned for a moment. He said, "Can't you just call someone to bring them to you? It's a bit much for me to go get them." The girl sat down in a chair, crossed her legs, and her skirt instantly slid down, revealing her long, slender, fair legs. While tying her hair with a hair tie, she said, I could. But the future successor of Jiuanheng, is this all the magnanimity he has? Ruining a girl's dress, making her lose face in front of so many people, and now just leaving me here all alone? That's great. TSK. Hiss. Zhou Heng sucked in a sharp breath. The girl's words sent a chill down his spine. He had originally intended, as a man, a husband, and a father, not to get too close to other girls, let alone have any contact. So he had planned to drop her off here and leave quickly. But now that she put it that way, it made him sound like a total scumbag. Not only did he ruin her dress, but he also abandoned her, just dumping her here and leaving her to fend for herself. It did sound rather inhumane. Moreover, she had elevated it to the level of Jiuanheng. Since he was aiming to be the future successor of Jiuanheng, he had to be mindful of his image at all times. He would be the face of Jiuanheng in the future. His words and actions could all affect Jiuanheng. Even if the other party were an ordinary girl, he should still take responsibility for his actions. What's more, she wasn't an ordinary girl. She was a rich heiress. He didn't know the strength of her family or their relationship with Jiuanheng. He should treat her even better. Thinking this, Zhou Heng understood. It seemed he couldn't escape this. For himself, and for the image of Jiuanheng, he could only resign himself to his fate. All right, I understand. I'll go get them for you. Sigh, how did it come to this? Zhou Heng sighed and walked out of the hotel. He felt as if he had been morally blackmailed, but he was precisely the type of person who was easily morally blackmailed. Not to mention it was his fault to begin with. Now, he could appreciate the importance of bringing a secretary or an assistant when going out. This kind of thing should be handled by them. Unfortunately, he was just an assistant himself right now, and Tangji was busy at the company with no time to spare, so he had to handle it himself. Zhou Heng arrived at the hotel's parking lot, which was filled with luxury cars, almost none of them worth less than $1 million. He pressed the car key and found the girl's car. He walked over and opened the car door. The interior decoration didn't quite look like a girl's car, but you could tell it was hers. For example, the clothes on the back seat were a casual outfit. Zhou Heng took the clothes, closed the car door, and went back into the hotel. As soon as he walked in, he ran into Baitsong, who was walking out while on the phone. When Baitsong saw Zhou Heng, he was suddenly stunned, then said into the phone, "I'll talk to you in a bit. Something's come up." Hanging up now. After hanging up, Bai Song walked right up to Zhou Heng. What were you doing? Why did you run out? Bai Song asked quizzically, wondering why the host of the banquet had gone outside. As he spoke, Bai Song looked down at Zhou Heng's hands and saw that he was holding a set of clothes. And they were women's clothes. Bai Song tilted his head, looked at Zhou Heng with an expression of disbelief, and said in a low voice, Brother Zhou, my grandnephew is barely a month old. This isn't very good, is it? But don't worry, I didn't see anything, I don't remember anything. What the hell are you talking about? It's not what you think. It's fine, I get it. It's normal in our circle. Don't worry, Brother Zhou. I'll support you no matter what you do. Bai Song patted Zhou Heng's shoulder, gave him a knowing look, and then walked past him, leaving. It's not. Zhou Heng turned to look at the departing Bai Song, wanting to explain, but feeling a sense of powerlessness. Besides, what did he mean by it's normal in our circle? Zhou Heng shook his head helplessly, then took the clothes upstairs to the room. He knocked on the door, but with the first knock, he found the door wasn't locked, and it swung open. Then he heard the sound of water running in the bathroom inside. Zhou Heng slowly walked in, placed the clothes and the car key on the table, then walked to the bathroom door and said loudly, I brought the clothes and put them on the table. I'll be leaving now. Later. When you come down, we'll have a drink. I'm really sorry. No, you can't go. Wait a moment. I have something to say to you. The girl's voice came from the bathroom. Zhou Heng frowned slightly and replied, You can get ready and come down to the banquet hall. We can talk slowly there. Do you think I can attend a banquet in those clothes? You want me to be embarrassed in front of all those people again? You already ruined my dress. TSK. Zhou Heng clicked his tongue, already getting a bit impatient. But since it had come to this, he was curious to see what tricks this girl was trying to pull. Zhou Heng closed the door, walked in, and sat on the sofa, quietly waiting for the girl to finish. About 5 minutes later, the sound of water in the bathroom stopped. Zhou Heng put down his phone, crossed his legs, and frowned, waiting for the girl to come out. Then the bathroom door opened, and a long, fair leg stepped out first. Zhou Heng glanced over and saw that the girl was only wearing a bathrobe. He quickly turned his head away, not looking at her. The girl walked over and sat down opposite Zhou Heng. She glanced at the clothes and car key on the table, then looked up at Zhou Heng and said softly, Thanks. Zhou Heng shook his head and said, It's fine, it was my fault to begin with. If you have something to say it quickly. The girl's bathrobe was tied very low, her chest partially visible. She also crossed her legs, which was even more tantalizing. Zhou Heng didn't dare to look directly at her, so he kept looking elsewhere. The girl slowly began to speak, her voice soft. I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Dong Qingya, the daughter of the chairman of the Yuanqi group. Yuanqi? Oh, I see. My name is Zhou Heng, son of the chairman of the Junheng group. Zhou Heng nodded in response. He now knew her background. It was quite powerful, well known in Dongzhou. Then I won't beat around the bush. Dong Qingya nodded silently. Then she reached for the belt of her bathrobe at her waist, and the next second, she untied it. Although Zhou Heng wasn't looking directly at her, he seemed to catch a glimpse in his peripheral vision. It looked like she had taken off her bathrobe. Zhou Heng's eyes flew wide open in shock. He quickly shut them and said, What are you doing? Isn't the meaning obvious? What do you think of me? You don't dislike me, right? Dong Qingya stood up, completely naked, and slowly walked towards Zhou Heng. Zhou Heng immediately shot up from his seat and backed away, his eyes fixed on the floor. Can you not do this? I already have a wife. And today's full-month banquet is for my son. I have a child. I know. I don't care. I won't fight with her for status. I could be the younger one. What the hell? Zhou Heng was even more shocked, unable to believe his ears. No. Do you know what you're saying? That's bigamy, you know. Huh. It won't be. As long as we don't get a marriage certificate, it's fine. You can marry as many women as you want, even have weddings on the same day. My father has 3 wives. Zhou Heng's mouth twitched, and he said in a low voice, I don't understand. My family isn't like that. My dad only has 1 wife. Is that so? Then what are you thinking? Anyway, I've told you the truth. I like you. I like you from the first time I saw you. I deliberately made you spill my drink. I thought that was the only way you would notice me. Dong Qingya stepped forward, grabbed Zhou Heng's shoulders, and pressed her entire body against his back. Zhou Heng felt the contact on his back and froze, not daring to move a muscle. Listen to me, calm down. Let go of me. Can't we just talk this out? Zhou Heng said in a low voice. Dong Qingya didn't seem to dare to be too audacious either. Her body was only lightly pressed against his, not daring to embrace him fully, just maintaining some contact. Hearing Zhou Heng's words, Dong Qingya released her hands, took half a step back, and lowered her head. Why? She whispered. Am I ugly? No, you're not ugly. You're quite beautiful, just not as beautiful as my wife. Then is my figure not good? No. Is my family background not good enough? Yuan Qi is certainly not on par with Junhong, but it's not bad, is it? It's one of the top companies in Dongzhou. Am I not worthy of you? It's none of those things. It has nothing to do with any of that. Dong Qingya turned, picked up the bathrobe from the sofa, and put it back on. Frowning slightly, she demanded, "Then what is it? I've already offered myself up so shamelessly, and you still don't want me. Do you know how much damage that does to my pride?" Although she was the daughter of a concubine, her father was responsible towards all his wives, and she held a respectable position at home. She had never been ostracized and had enjoyed all the privileges a rich young lady deserved. She had always been the center of attention, with countless people fawning over her, following her around like puppies. After growing up, hundreds of men had come to propose marriage, trying every trick in the book to get close to her, but she had ignored them all, never giving them a second glance. And now, a woman who had grown up like that was standing naked before a man like some cheap, common woman trying to give herself away for free, only to be harshly rejected. This was something she simply couldn't accept. No man had ever rejected her, especially not when she was being so proactive. In her mind, any normal man would have accepted a halfway, decent-looking girl who offered herself up like this, right? What's more, she was a girl with good looks, a great figure, and an excellent family background. What reason was there to refuse? She truly couldn't understand. Zhou Heng was, of course, a normal man. In fact, on top of being normal, he was a man with very strong desires in that department, a fact that Yin Mingran, who shared the same trait, knew all too well. He could say with certainty that this was a very, very harsh test. If his willpower had been even a little weaker, he would have long since succumbed. But, so far, he had held on. Just then, Zhou Heng suddenly remembered that before he came here, Tang Ji had given him a silk pouch. She had said that when he encountered difficulties, felt hesitant, or was lost, opening it would help him. Now, this had to be a time of difficulty, right? He was curious to see what was inside and why it could help him at a time like this. Zhou Heng didn't answer Dong Qingya's question. Instead, he reached into his pocket, took out the silk pouch Tang Ji had given him, opened it, and pulled out its contents. Seeing what was inside, Zhou Heng was stunned. His eyes widened, and then a smile spread across his face. He muttered, "Ha! No wonder she said it would help me. She really understands me. Tang Ji, with your help, I really don't have to worry about a thing." Zhou Heng looked up, turned around to face Dong Qingya, his gaze now firm, without a trace of wavering. "You're a great person, but it's impossible between us, because I have a wife, and I have a child. I love them very much, and I will never betray my wife. I will never marry a second wife in this lifetime. If you're willing, we can be friends. I can introduce you to my wife another day. She's a wonderful person. At least in my heart, she's the best. And as for what happened today, we can just pretend it never happened. If you're not willing, then please don't come near me again. That's all." After saying his piece in one breath, Zhou Heng turned and left. "Hey!" Dong Qingya reached out a hand, trying to stop him, but Zhou Heng walked away quickly, without any hesitation. She couldn't stop him at all. Bang! As the door to the room closed, Zhou Heng was gone, leaving Dong Qingya alone in the room, stunned and motionless. She slowly lowered her hand, standing in the empty room, staring straight ahead, her eyes vacant and her mouth slightly agape, lost in thought. After leaving the room, Zhou Heng glanced at his hand. Inside the silk pouch was a photograph. In the photo were Yin Mingran and Zhou Weiyan, the two people he loved most in the world. The moment he saw the picture, all his confusion and hesitation vanished, and it filled him with the confidence to overcome any difficulty. Zhou Heng put the photo away in the inner pocket of his jacket and returned to the banquet hall. By now, the hall was even more crowded, and most of the invited guests had arrived. As soon as Zhou Heng entered the banquet hall, he saw Zhou Junyao standing at the front. Their eyes met, and Zhou Junyao beckoned to him. Seeing the signal, Zhou Heng quickly jogged over to his father's side. Zhou Junyao looked him up and down and asked, "Where did you go? Why would you disappear during an event like this?" I want to take care of something." Zhou Junyao didn't press further. He took Zhou Heng's arm and walked to the front of the stage. The host handed Zhou Junyao the microphone. The music in the hall stopped, and everyone's gaze turned to the front, where they saw Zhou Junyao and Zhou Heng. The chatter gradually subsided until the hall fell silent. Ahem! Zhou Junyao cleared his throat twice, and the entire venue became truly, completely silent. Not a single person made a sound. "Thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to attend my grandson's full-month celebration." As soon as Zhou Junyao said this, A wave of discussion rippled through the crowd. Zhou Heng could guess that many people had assumed this celebration was for a new, younger brother of his, not for a grandson. For most of you, this is also the first time you're meeting my son. His name is Zhou Heng. He is currently working by my side as my assistant, helping me handle matters. I am training him as my successor. This statement set off another huge commotion below, with the discussions growing even louder. Zhou Heng could clearly feel that the way most people looked at him had changed. The young women who had been brought along to see the world were now looking at him with shining eyes. Zhou Heng knew that he had now officially entered the field of vision of Dongzhu's high society business circle. He wondered if these capitalists would be friendly towards him. These guys are the type to eat people and not even spit out the bones. Zhou Junyao waited until the crowd below had completely quieted down before continuing. Today I also want to give my son a gift, and that is... Just then, Bai Tsang's father, Bai Zhengji, walked over from the side with a smile on his face, holding a folder. He approached and handed the folder to Zhou Junyao, who in turn passed it to Zhou Heng. Zhou Heng took the folder, a bit surprised. Before he could even guess what was inside, Zhou Junyao spoke. This is 10% of Juanheng's shares, my gift to my son. What? Whoa. The statement not only gave Zhou Heng a huge shock, but it also made the crowd below explode. After a wave of gasps, the ensuing discussion nearly blew the roof off the banquet hall. After all, none of them had expected such a grand gift. Zhou Junyao held 70% of Juanheng's shares. Even giving away 10%, he would still be the absolute controller of the company. But giving these shares to Zhou Heng changed everything. The value, of course, was immense, but it also made Zhou Heng a shareholder of Juanheng, a part owner of the company. His worth could no longer be measured in mere money. Once Zhou Heng signed the papers and received the shares, he would truly become President Zhou, entering their circle. At that point, his power would already surpass that of many people in the room. Zhou Heng held the folder, his hands trembling. He looked up at Zhou Junyao, his eyes filled with disbelief. Zhou Junyao simply smiled faintly, and Zhou Heng understood. His father knew that these people were all watching like tigers, with no good intentions. This was the only way to give Zhou Heng the ability to protect himself, so that no one could bully him easily. It gave him the capital to establish himself in this circle. Zhou Heng took a step closer and whispered in Zhou Junyao's ear, "Dad, isn't this gift a bit too valuable?" Zhou Junyao glanced at Zhou Heng and patted his arm, whispering back, "If I don't give you this, how are you going to raise my grandson properly?" Huh? Zhou Heng gave a wry smile. It seemed he was riding on his son's coattails to get all this. After Zhou Junyao finished speaking, the banquet officially began. The guests one by one presented their monetary gifts, none of which were small sums. Together, they amounted to an unimaginable figure. Zhou Heng went from table to offer toasts. After Zhou Junyao's maneuver, everyone now looked at Zhou Heng with new respect, no longer treating him as an ordinary young man. This was especially true for the young women, who pulled the necklines of their dresses as low as they could and hitched their skirts to one side to expose their thighs, casting flirtatious glances at him. But Zhou Heng chose to ignore them all. There was no way he would be swayed. After all, he had just firmly rejected a woman who had stood naked before him without a moment's hesitation. After making a full round, Zhou Heng had been forced to drink a lot of alcohol. These people were all quite enthusiastic, and he couldn't very well refuse them and make them lose face. In his own circle, Zhou Heng was always the C-suite, the leader of the pack. When they went out to eat, others would always toast him first. After a meal, he would be the first to get up before anyone else dared to move. But now that he had entered their circle, he was the junior. He was the one toasting others. As a result, Zhou Heng was feeling a bit dizzy. The problem was he had downed so many glasses in a row. Even with his high tolerance for alcohol, he couldn't take it. Subsequently, Zhou Heng decided to go rest in a corner. He found a sofa, sat down, and tugged at his collar to cool himself down. He felt hot all over. Phew! He looked at the capitalist before him and let out a long breath. For a moment, he felt like he had grown up, like he was now a true adult in society, starting to engage with circles he had never touched before, growing and maturing little by little. Oomph! As Zhou Heng was spacing out, a drink suddenly appeared in front of him. It looked like some kind of sobering-up tea. Zhou Heng paused, looked up, and saw the person next to him. It was Dong Qingya. She was wearing the change of clothes he had brought for her, one hand in her pocket, the other holding the cup she was offering him. "Here, drink this. It'll make you feel better." Seeing Zhou Heng hesitate, Dong Qingya spoke. Her voice wasn't loud, but carried a tone of dissatisfaction with him, which he could clearly hear. He figured it was normal for her to be unhappy with him. Thanks. Zhou took the cup and took a sip. It was sweet and sour, and he did feel much better after drinking it. Dong Qingya sat down in a chair on the other side, crossing her legs and her arms. With her head slightly bowed, she stared sharply at him. Zhou glanced at her, then turned his head away, pretending he hadn't seen or noticed anything. After a moment, Dong Qingya spoke coolly. Congratulations, President Zhou. So impressive at such a young age. Not at all. My parents are the impressive ones. I'm just a second-generation rich kid. Zhou waved his hand humbly. Hey, Zhou, you're here. Are you okay? You drank too much. Just then, Baicang walked over to Zhou, asking with concern. The next second, he saw Dong Qingya nearby and noticed her strange expression, which made him a little confused. Dong Qingya, what are you doing here? Baicang glanced at her clothes, which seemed a bit too casual for a banquet. Then he realized, wasn't this the outfit Zhou was holding earlier? So the clothes belonged to Dong Qingya. What was their relationship? Where did they meet? Dong Qingya glanced at Baicang and said, It's none of your business. This is a personal grudge between him and me. Wait, what grudge do we have? Did you even listen to what I said? Zhou turned his head to look at Dong Qingya with a helpless expression. His lips pursed in exasperation. Dong Qingya nodded. Yes, I heard you. Otherwise, why would I be looking for you? Do you really think I have no shame? Then, what do you mean? Dong Qingya stood up, walked towards Zhou, leaned down, and stared at him with wide eyes. Let's be friends. And what just happened? You must take it to your grave. You are not to tell anyone. I'd be more than happy to. Okay. Zhou mouth twitched. He wished he could just erase the memory of what had just happened. Why would he ever tell anyone? Baicang, listening from the side, looked bewildered, having no idea what the two were talking about. It seemed they not only knew each other, but had also been involved in some kind of unspeakable incident. Could it really be what he was thinking? Was Zhou that kind of person? That wasn't the impression he had of him at all. After drinking the beverage Dong Qingya had given him, Zhou felt much better and was already sober. So, he didn't stay seated, but prepared to go mingle with the guests again. As one of the main figures of the event, he couldn't just leave. After Zhou left, Baicang looked at Dong Qingya with a slight frown. I say, what exactly happened between you two? Don't you go getting any ideas about Zhou. He and his wife are deeply in love. Don't ruin their relationship. Dong Qingya looked at Baicang, her expression unpleasant. After staring at him for a moment, she asked, Are you very familiar with his wife? We're friends. Dong Qingya's interest was suddenly piqued. She frowned and asked, So what do you think of her? What does her family do? Is she better than me? Baicang rubbed his chin and thought for a moment before saying, I don't want to discourage you, but I really think she's better than you. At least as Zhou, she's the best. No one can surpass her. That's an exaggeration, isn't it? I don't believe it. Is she a perfect woman? With no flaws? Who's perfect? From your perspective, she might not seem as good as you in some ways, but from Zhou perspective, she's irreplaceable. After Baicang said this, Dong Qingya looked at him with a strange expression. After staring for a while, she asked, Are you really the kind of person who would say something like this? I've known you for 7 or 8 years, haven't I? You've changed a lot. In Dong Qingya's memory, although Baicang wasn't some profligate rich kid, he was definitely not the type to say such things, especially when defending someone else. It made one wonder what had happened to him to cause such a change. Baicang was silent for a moment before he slowly said, The old me certainly couldn't have said these things. But over the years, I've changed. The people I've met have changed me. Dong Qingya didn't reply. Listening to Baicang's words, she fell into deep thought, her mind racing. At that moment, she developed an intense interest in Zhou wife. She wanted to see for herself just what kind of woman could make Zhou so devoted and earn such high praise from Baicang. She didn't reappear at the banquet. She had lost interest in it. She already knew what she wanted to know. Dong Qingya left the hotel, returned to her car, and made a phone call. She went home, changed her clothes, and then headed to a specific location. When she arrived at her destination, she squinted at the building before her. It was a postpartum care center, the place where Yin Mingran was staying. She had done a little digging and had easily found Yin Mingran's location. She wanted to take advantage of Zhou absence to go see this Yin Mingran, to get to know his wife, and see if she was really as exceptional as they said. Dong Qingya got out of the car, walked inside, and after inquiring which room Yin Mingran was in, went upstairs. Dong Qingya stood at the door of the room. She leaned closer, listening for any sounds from within. Hearing nothing, she, who had intended to knock, noticed the door was unlocked. She decided to simply open it and walk in, a very rude action, but it was intentional. She wanted to see how the person inside would react. Whoosh! The moment she opened the door, a gust of wind blew towards her, lifting her hair. She saw that the room's window was open, and a cross breeze was rustling the curtains. Standing beneath the curtains was a young woman who, hearing the noise, turned to look over. That delicate profile made Dong Qingya freeze in surprise, blinking in place. The wind died down, and the door was blown shut. The two women stood there, looking at each other, both seemingly stunned. "Hello, are you?" Mingran spoke first, looking at Dong Qingya and asking softly. Dong Qingya snapped back to reality. "Oh, hello. I'm sorry to disturb you. My name is Dong Qingya. I'm a friend of Zhou Heng's." Hearing this, Mingran's eyes lit up. A smile bloomed on her face as she walked forward. "Oh, I see. So you're my husband's friend. Please have a seat." Mingran's welcoming demeanor made Dong Qingya even more puzzled. She thought, doesn't she want to ask about my identity? Or how I know Zhou Heng? I just say I'm his friend, and she believes me? Dong Qingya sat down and looked around the room, which seemed to be filled with traces of her and Zhou Heng's life together. Mingran poured Dong Qingya a glass of water and brought some fruit, placing it on the table beside her. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I don't have much to offer you here." "It's fine." Dong Qingya waved her hand and took a sip from her cup. Mingran sat down as well. "May I ask why you've come here?" she asked, finally getting to the point. Her earlier actions were just basic hospitality. As long as her visitors showed no ill intent, she would treat them this way. "I just wanted to talk to you. Do you know what Zhou Heng was up to today?" Mingran paused, shook her head, and replied, "I'm not sure. Isn't it their son's full-month celebration today? Didn't Zhou Heng go to the banquet? What would he have done?" "Then I'll be blunt. I hope you can listen calmly without shouting." Dong Qingya appeared very composed. After crossing her legs, she began, "I only met Zhou Heng at the banquet today. He spilled my drink and ruined my dress. But actually, I made that happen on purpose. I set my sights on him. I want him. At first, I didn't know he was married. I thought the celebration was for his younger brother. But even after I found out he had a child, I didn't care. I tricked him into a room, and then I took off my clothes." Dong Qingya deliberately paused, looking at Mingran to see her reaction. In that instant, Mingran's brow furrowed, and a clear hostility appeared in her eyes. Then, her hands gripped the sofa tightly as she said in a low voice, "So you've come here to do what?" "To gloat." Mingran's tone was no longer polite. Once she knew the woman before her had improper intentions towards Zhou Heng, there was no need for pleasantries. Dong Qingya found this reaction normal. Perhaps, with a little more provocation, she could get an unexpected result. Still maintaining a calm and composed demeanor, Dong Qingya said, "Aren't you curious about what happened next?" "There's no need." Mingran's answer momentarily stunned Dong Qingya. This was not what she had expected. Completely puzzled, Dong Qingya asked why. "Aren't you worried at all that something happened between Zhou Heng and me?" "There's no need to worry, because I know what kind of person my husband is. I never worry about these things. You don't need to try and drive a wedge between us. It's useless." Mingran didn't even blink. Her firm reply shocked Dong Qingya. Her eyes widened, and her mouth fell slightly agape in disbelief. She couldn't believe Mingran trusted Zhou Heng so completely. Even after hearing what she had said, she was completely unfazed. If it were her, she would have been furious by now. How could she possibly remain so rational? Dong Qingya continued to probe. "What if we really did do something? How can you be so sure we're innocent?" Mingran still didn't hesitate for a second. She shook her head and said, "Impossible. Stop with this nonsense. Why are you really here? If there's nothing else, please leave. I need to rest." Mingran's attitude convinced Dong Qingya that the bond between her and Zhou Heng was unbreakable. She had no chance of destroying it. For a moment, a feeling of envy arose in Dong Qingya's heart. She envied the woman before her, who had such a wonderful relationship with Zhou Heng, a relationship built on trust, devotion, and loyalty. Mingran was also so beautiful. Even after childbirth, her figure hadn't changed. Dong Qingya had also investigated and learned that she was a candidate for the presidency of Tianheng in Huzhou. Right now, Dong Qingya genuinely felt that she was indeed inferior to Mingran. It was the first time in her life she had ever felt this way, feeling inferior to another woman. Dong Qingya lowered her head and fell silent. Mingran said nothing during this time, just quietly watching her. After a while, Mingran spoke slowly. "Just say what you want to say. I can tell you're not here to cause trouble." Dong Qingya looked up, staring blankly at Mingran, her slightly arrogant air now gone. She looked at Mingran for a moment before speaking. I wanted to apologize to you. Nothing happened between us. I came here to test you, but I didn't expect you to be even more impressive than I imagined. Zhou Heng is a very good man, and you're a very good woman. You two are truly a perfect match. Then, Dong Xingya told Mingran the whole story. Mingran listened calmly, as if everything was within her expectations, showing no major reaction. Mingran understood Dong Xingya's intentions. It was simply to see if she was truly worthy of the high praise they had given her. Because Zhou Heng had rejected her, she had become extremely curious about the kind of woman who could inspire such devotion. At the same time, Mingran also understood Zhou Heng's position. The other party was, after all, a person of status. As Zhou Heng's wife, she couldn't cause trouble for him. Mingran's expression softened considerably, since she knew that nothing had happened and that the woman before her seemed genuinely remorseful. There was no need for further hostility. In a calm voice, Mingran said, "It's all right. As long as you don't have any more ideas about my husband in the future, it's fine. The past is in the past. We can also be friends. I can tell you're not a bad person." You really think so? Dong Xingya was once again astonished by Mingran's magnanimity. She could feel that even though they were of similar age, Mingran's way of thinking was completely different. Mingran was much more mature than she was. They were simply incomparable. Yes, of course. It's always better to have one more friend than one more enemy. I haven't formally introduced myself yet. My name is Mingran. Mingran extended her hand, a faint smile on her face as she looked at Dong Xingya. Dong Xingya looked up at Mingran, then also extended her hand and shook it amicably. At that moment, for some unknown reason, a feeling of admiration for Mingran surged within her. In her mind, Mingran's image grew taller and grander. After they released their hands, Dong Xingya's mind began to race. She thought about many things, about her past mindset, about how her thinking had become so twisted, and why she had resorted to such methods to try and win Zhou Heng. At the same time, she contemplated her own views on love, wondering if they were healthy, if her perspective on romance was correct. She now understood clearly that what she truly wanted was a love like Zhou Heng and Mingran's, not just to obtain Zhou Heng's background to prove her own worth. After witnessing their relationship, she was filled with envy, as well as admiration for Zhou Heng and reverence for Mingran. A man who could be so self-controlled and principled, a woman who could be so generous and trusting of her man. How could a life together for such a couple not be happy? By the way, can I see your child? Of course. He's still sleeping, but that's okay. Mingran readily agreed. She stood up and left the room. A moment later, Dong Xingya heard the sound of a baby crying. There, baby, be good. A pretty Annie has come to see you. Don't cry, mommy's here. Dong Xingya watched as Mingran returned holding a baby, constantly soothing him. The baby was crying incessantly, but under Mingran's gentle coaxing, he slowly quieted down and his mood stabilized. After Mingran sat down, Dong Xingya's eyes remained fixed on the child. She was moved, and a smile unconsciously graced her lips. She hadn't even noticed herself smiling. After a moment, Dong Xingya asked in a low voice, "Can I hold him?" For some reason, despite seeing this child for the first time, she felt a sense of familiarity. She had never been particularly fond of children, but now she felt a rare desire to be close to one. Mingran nodded. "Of course, but he has quite a temper, you know. When he cries, only I can soothe him. Not even his dad can. This kid has a mind of his own." Mingran smiled helplessly. After she had coaxed the baby in her arms until he was mostly calm, she handed him to Dong Xingya. She expected the baby to start crying within a minute of being in Dong Xingya's arms, as had happened with everyone else who had held him. Dong Xingya took the baby into her arms. Looking at the child in her embrace, she felt an even more peculiar sensation. The baby felt soft, exuded a faint scent of milk, had a chubby little face and big eyes that were currently staring at her. He was incredibly cute. Mingran wiped the tears from the corner of the baby's eyes, tilting her head with a look full of motherly love. "Aya," the baby babbled, as if trying to say something, while reaching out a tiny hand to grasp Dong Xingya's collar. He's not crying. Usually, when he wakes up, he throws a huge tantrum, and he only settles down when I hold him. I'm surprised he's so quiet in your arms. This little guy must have a thing for pretty ladies, huh? Mingran said jokingly, stroking the baby's cheek. But inwardly, she was quite surprised. Even his father couldn't soothe him. Yet now he was being so well-behaved in the arms of a strange woman. "It seems he really likes you." This has never happened before, Min Gran said, looking up at Dong Qingya with a gentle smile. Hearing Mingran's words, Dong Qingya's feelings toward the child changed again. It felt as if this baby had awakened her own maternal instincts. This is the first time I've liked a child so much, too. Maybe. We're just fated to be. After holding him for a while, Dong Qingya suddenly looked up at Min Gran with a serious expression and said, "Can I make a request?" Go on." That evening, Zhou Heng dragged his exhausted body back to Mingran's place, carrying the small cake he had promised to buy for her. The full-month celebration was supposed to end around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, but unexpectedly, there was an after-party. He had made connections with many powerful figures that day, and, after drinking too much, had even started calling some of them brother. Zhou Heng sighed. He was truly exhausted today. He had to take a shower and get some proper rest when he got back. In the afternoon, he had missed Min Gran a little, so he had contacted her by phone to ask how she was doing. He was relieved to know she was fine and just resting in her room, but he had accidentally stayed out so late. He wondered if Min Gran would be angry when he got back. Zhou Heng returned to the room, pushed the door open, and walked in. "Honey, I'm back." Sure. As soon as he entered, he saw Min Gran lying on the bed, gently patting the baby. She put a finger to her lips in a should gesture. Zhou Heng immediately clamped his hand over his mouth, realizing the baby had just been lulled to sleep and he mustn't wake him up, or the whole night would be restless again. Zhou Heng gently placed the small cake on the table, then began to take off his clothes, hanging up his suit. He sat down on the sofa for a brief rest. His face was flushed, a clear sign of how much he had drunk that day. It was already a feat that he had managed to walk back with his wits about him. After putting the baby to sleep, Min Gran came over to the sofa and sat down next to him. "I must reek of alcohol." "It's okay." Min Gran shook her head with a smile, then began to open the cake box. She picked up a piece and fed the first bite to Zhou Heng. "You've worked hard. It must have been a tiring day." "It was okay. It's just that something not so great happened. Let me tell you about it, but please don't be angry." Zhou Heng suddenly remembered the incident from earlier that day. Even though nothing had happened, he felt he needed to explain it properly to Min Gran. He just didn't know how she would react, or how he would coax her if she got angry. It wasn't his fault at all, so he couldn't very well apologize, could he? But just as Zhou Heng started to speak, Min Gran suddenly cut him off. "Oh, you mean the thing with Dong Qingya? No need to say anything. I already know everything." Zhou Heng froze, an uncontrollable tremor running through him. His eyes widened, his face a mask of utter shock. His first reaction was bewilderment. How did Min Gran know about this? How did she even know who Dong Qingya was? Was there a listening device or a tracker on him? Or did she have spies watching him? This, let me explain, Min Gran reached out, forked a piece of cake, and stuffed it into Zhou Heng's mouth. "All right, no need to explain. Dong Qingya came here this afternoon. She told me everything." "What? Dong Qingya came here? She came to see you?" Zhou Heng, his mouth full of cake, shot up from his seat in shock. Min Gran was startled and quickly made another gesture. She glanced back at the baby, and only relaxed after confirming he hadn't woken up. She pulled Zhou Heng back down to sit. "Hey, what are you so worked up about? What did she tell you? She didn't say anything strange, did she?" "No, she even apologized to me. I think she's a pretty good person. And it seems she really likes our son." "Likes our son?" Zhou Heng paused, looking at the sleeping child on the bed, an ominous feeling creeping into his heart. "Yes, she does. She even made a request. I didn't think it was a big deal, so I agreed." "A request? What request?" Min Gran gave a wry smile, turned to look at the baby, and said softly, "She wants to be the baby's godmother."